Kinner Show, live here on ESPN Dayton, 1410 Wing AM. Tweet the show at 1410 Kinner or give us a call at 457-9464. We now send you to the Wing Studios in Kettering. Here's your host, Justin Kinner.
All right, everybody, welcome in. It is the Justin Kinner Show, live here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. Happy Friday. This week flew by. It's been a busy week. A lot happened this week. Like, for instance, the week started, we were in baseball season, and the baseball season's over. Well, at least it is for your Cincinnati Reds and even your Cleveland Indians. And, both teams kind of went out in similar yet different fashions. I mean, your team at least put up some runs.
I stayed up until 1:30 in the morning watching that game. It was 4 hours and 50 minutes, not including the rain delays. I stayed up and watched that game. Now, if I was like a super baseball fan, it was a great game to watch. It was super entertaining, but I'm not a super baseball fan. I am only a fan of my team. So it is gut-wrenching to watch your team go up 4-0 and then give up a grand slam and be down and then fight to come back and take the lead. Then they take the lead again, and then you tie it up again, only to lose it in the top of the ninth, basically. And then you got guys out here that I've never even heard of trying to swing the bat. You know, then Frankie Lindor, he's basically going to be leaving town this year. You know, $300 million contract is awaiting him somewhere else, not in Cleveland. And Tito, you know, basically is up in limbo if he's going to be able to manage the team next year. Obviously, the name change is coming. So it was just like a gut punch of every emotion watching that game, man. And then coming here yesterday, I was in the building doing some production, and you know, I got the Reds game on in the back, and then next thing I know, the game is over, and then it dawns on me they didn't score a run in 2 games.
2+ games, technically 13 innings in game one. Now, they did it the old-fashioned way. They embarrassed themselves in only 9 innings yesterday. The Cincinnati Reds season has come to an end. And, you know, it's funny. I was thinking about this earlier. Sports are a weird thing. You go into, I mean, you are so excited every season, and more times than not, your heart will be broken. Every season. Dayton Flyers fans, your season will end in a heartbreak, right? Like Steelers fans, your season will end in a heartbreak, right? Like Browns fans, Bengals fans, like every one of us. Let's be clear. The odds of any of us who are diehard fans of any particular team, more times than not, every year, we let ourselves get up just to be let down. Yeah. Like, isn't sports the weird? It's the only thing that we do. Like, think about if you are a music fan. I mean, there are songs you like and don't like, but rarely do you get disappointed as a music fan. If you're a movie fan, okay, that movie was disappointing, but you're not disappointed. Like, you're not losing sleep over. Sports fans, that interest right there, that's disappointing. Yeah, that's disappointment. There may be some like positives along the way, but the way I feel about the Reds right now, I feel more dejected after their playoff performance than I would have had they not made the playoffs at all. Like, I don't even know if I'm saying that I would rather have them not made the playoffs, but I do know that as of 2 weeks ago, I had mentally moved on from this team. I had already convinced myself that this wasn't a playoff team and that everything, getting that off-season state of mind. The Reds always crack me up because they do a great job of by December. That's why I love Reds Fest. I love the Caravan. I love the things that they do because they break your heart. September, you're over it. You're tired. You're done with the Reds because they always continue to lose. But then guess what? Only a few months later, you got Reds Fest coming and you feel all the butterflies in your stomach. You're all excited. You're going to get to see some of your favorite Reds, and then they make you feel like, oh man, we're really building something for next year. And then there you are a year later feeling the same way you did the year before. Now, I am not going to be as down on this Reds team as most people think. Like, I am very frustrated, but at the same time, I'm not going to the things I would say about what we witnessed during this playoff run for the Reds pretty much are the same things I've been saying all season. I mean, do you have to give credit to David Bell for the Reds getting to the playoffs? Kind of. And I say that because this team spent money to be a playoff team. They were supposed to be a playoff team. This wasn't a team like, for instance, I remember when the Cubs, they won the World Series in 2016. The year before that, they made the playoffs and they nearly went on a deep run. Like, they were ahead of schedule. They were, that was the first year that Madden was with the Cubs and they made the play. They were, taking on, they hit the ground running. They were ahead of schedule. Then you feel good about where you're at. The Reds aren't ahead of schedule. They're well behind schedule. So even when they do accomplish certain things, you want to be excited and happy about it, but then you also feel at the same time that it's like, well, okay, we got here. But let me ask you, Reds fans, how excited were you that the playoffs were here? It was a fun game on Wednesday night, the extra inning game. They could have come away with that. I mean, it's not as if they were just destroyed. I went golfing with a buddy last night, and I asked him, it was my friend Brady. I said, hey, I know this sounds weird, but like, what would have been a worse way for the Reds to go out? And I'll ask you the same thing. What if Wednesday they just got beat in 9 innings and they only had 1 hit and they didn't leave runners stranded because they didn't have runners in scoring position? Like, Wednesday, I felt weird after that game because I wanted to be angry, but I wasn't. It was a good game. It just they couldn't convert on the runners that were on base. I know that's what you have to do. You have to score runs. You have to bring runs in. But I feel like I would rather have them lost like that, I think, or would I rather have them lose not getting hits, not getting on base? Like, they went down swinging that day. Technically, kind of. That's a weird thing to say considering how many strikeouts that they just went right past them looking. But you know what I mean.
Well, I guess it depends on how you like to watch your baseball. Do you like to watch a pitcher's duel? Because that's exactly what the Reds were involved with the Braves. Or do you like a slugfest, run, scoring, some type of excitement? And that's how the Indians lost, with runs and excitement. For me, since I'm a very casual baseball fan, I like to see runs. I like to see some home runs if I'm going to be tuning in. I mean, like we said with the first game with the Indians, Aaron Judge hit a big blast, a 2-run blast to start the game off before I even got down to eat my dinner. And then the same thing happened with the Indians in game 2. It was a big 2-run double, and they were up quick, fast, in a hurry. And I was all excited and everything like that because we want to see runs. We want to see scoring. I mean, I think that's in every sport. In football, I mean, yes, can be entertaining, but ultimately we want to see touchdowns. We don't want to see Big 12 football, but we want to see touchdowns. We don't want to see the LSU Bama championship game. Nobody wants to see that. That was horrible to watch. That wasn't entertaining at all. So I go with, hey, man, at least that's what I'm hanging my hat on. At least I got to see a very entertaining game.
You bring up a good point. What do fans exactly want? And again, I'm stepping out of this Reds conversation for a bigger conversation here because you're right, though. We always say, we like, for instance, the NBA. Oh, they scored too much. There's no defense. But then when there's defense, they're boring. Mm-hmm. Baseball, when they have good pitching and there's no offense, this game's boring. But then when there's too many runs, there's too many home runs. There's no, there's no fundamentals to the game right now. There's no small ball. What do fans really want? Football, same thing. You want the Big Ten's boring, but then the Big 12, you don't respect what the Big 12 does. Right. So what do you want? Like, what is the happy? I mean, I guess the SEC is the happy medium where you have defense and offense. So, of course, that's what you want if you're a college football fan. I know I'm not trying to stir the pot with this, but that's why I believe the SEC is a perfect blend of football because it does. You're watching NFL guys on both sides of the ball. You're watching good football on both sides of the ball. The Big Ten, it's a lot of bad offenses in the Big Ten. I mean, this has nothing to do with Ohio State. I've told you they've played above that conference and they've separated themselves. But the Big Ten, it's a smash you in the mouth type of conference. But that's too boring for some fans. The Big 12, that's very exciting. You think you would like that? Oh no, there's no defense. Well, you hate defense over here. You hate offense over here. What do you want? Same thing in the NBA. If there was defense in the NBA, you would be bored because they play like the Spurs or the Pistons did in the early 2000s, right?
The Knicks and the Pacers. So, it's those narratives that people come up with. For me, since I watch a ton of sports, I find them to be fake. I don't believe a lot of these narratives that people spit out there about all the NBA does. They don't play any defense. If you watch Game 7, Cavs, Golden State, you telling me they weren't playing defense? You telling me that wasn't a defensive game? Because the final score, with all those 3-pointers that they're jacking up, with all these great players out there, was in the 90s. They weren't scoring. It wasn't 120. You can say that about the regular season, but in the playoffs, there's been in the bubble has been very high scoring, but lockdown defense still happens in the NBA, especially in the NBA Finals. I'm not sure we're going to get that in this matchup of the NBA Finals, but in the last couple years, especially the Cavs Warriors, they've been playing a lot of defense. I mean, that's the only way the Cavs had a chance was to play defense in those games.
I think people get mad because it's not that they don't play defense. It's that it is that they don't play defense. It's not that they can't play defense. It's that they choose not to play defense 4 times than not.
Until the last
when you turn on a game. Yeah. But again, it's hard to be, if you want that elite offensive production, if you know anything about that, you're not going to get that at both ends of the floor. Right. At least not for 40 minutes or however, from different,
I think because like the people that say stuff like that, they're a little bit older and they're used to seeing a basketball game play out a certain way. But if you watch game 1 of the NBA Finals and you've been watching the season play out, especially since its return to the bubble, you've known that the Heat are hitting over 43% of the 3-pointers. And in this game, in game 1, they shot 20% on their 3-pointers. It wasn't just because they were missing. It's because guys are closing out. It is because the Lakers play great.
Are the tallest, longest team in the
NBA. They play great defense. So the game is just different. And that goes for any sport. Like, I'm a guy who likes a blend of small ball. I like to see guys being advanced off the bunt, but I also want to see some home runs. Ultimately, I just want to see dudes cross the plate. So if you're advancing dudes with a bunt, with a sack fly to score, whatever, I just want to see guys cross the plate. But you talk about how the Reds game, like they were swinging for the fences and they're only down 1 run.
Yeah.
Why are you doing that? I don't get that. That makes absolutely no sense.
That's like the line of the game from Alex Rodriguez on Wednesday. And again, he drives a lot of people nuts. But my favorite line from A-Rod that night was, so again, you are trying to play this new style of baseball, the analytics era. It's forget small ball. It's hit it out of the ballpark, right? Like that's what everyone's trying to do. Right. So he said, okay, but if you're not capable of doing that, right, why are we doing that? Like you got to play to your strengths. And let's be clear, you hit 212 on the season because you're not trying to put the ball in play. You're trying to hit the ball out of the park. But the problem with that is that that's not who you are. That's who you're capable of being when you got guys like Moustakas and Eugenio Suarez. But let's be clear, outside of those two, no one looked. Aquino had that magical September. I think the worst thing that could have ever happened to Aquino was that September, or that August, I should say. I know that sounds crazy. Aquino had that magical August last year where, he just, it's 15 home runs in the month. That's the worst thing that could have ever happened to him because people always like to do the whole look at the back of your baseball card thing. Well, that's what's called an outlier. That month is an outlier, right? Because there are way more months, and again, hasn't had a lot of time up, on the roster, but there are a lot more numbers showing that he's average to below average, and numbers showing that he's that. And people just keep looking at the expectations of what he was able to do in that August. That's what's frustrating, as far as that's is concerned. But keep in mind, so A-Rod said this. He goes, so you would rather lose playing your way than win the old school way. Like you are that adamant, that you were that aggressive in trying to make America's pastime a thing of the past. You are that set. It amazes me. Baseball is all about tradition, but yet baseball right now is all about nothing but non-tradition. Everything from the way they approach an at bat, from the way that they pitch, from the way that they field, from the shift, everything is non-traditional about baseball. But yet you're trying to preach to me about how it's America's pastime. It's all about tradition. You don't mess with baseball. That's all baseball is right now, is being messed with. And I thought that the way baseball operated, and I'm not talking about roster movement or money or anything, I'm just talking about the way it's played, that has changed dramatically over the last 10 years. And you cannot convince me that it has changed for the better. I used the comparison the other day. Yeah, Ron, that's great. He says that he brings up the bat flip. I love the bat flip.
Yes, sir.
Not many people, Reds fans probably hated. I think it was Ozuna yesterday when he hit the home run. He was doing some taunting around. People hated that. But you know what? Reds fans, shut up. Because where were you when Trevor Bauer is doing the hollering and the screaming and the stupid little McGregor thing that he does walking off, which I also don't have a problem with. Yeah. I just like to bring up the hypocrisy of, if Trevor Bauer is allowed to show up a hitter when he strikes him out, which I'm all for, and I don't look at it as really showing him up. I look at it as showing emotion.
Yes.
But in the baseball, dictionary, that is showing somebody up, right? Like they're the most sensitive athletes in the world are baseball players. Basketball is pretty sensitive, but that leads to the conversation. That adds to the entertainment aspect. We're going to get to little crybaby Kyrie Irving coming up here in just a bit. But if Trevor Bauer, who I have grown to like more and more as the years gone on, I've never debated his skill set, but when he gets a big strikeout at a big moment of the game and he stares down the batter that he just struck out and screams and hollers and all this stuff, I love it. And me as a viewer, he's bringing me into the game. I'm like, I can't wait to see him come back out either the next inning or the next game that he pitches because I like that guy. I like that energy right there. Me as a fan, if I'm new to baseball and I tune in and Trevor Bauer in inning number 7 of a scoreless game in the playoffs and he strikes a guy out and he shows no emotion and he just calmly walks back to the plate, how am I supposed to know that that's an exciting moment of the game? You're not drawing me in. And not everyone has to be Trevor Bauer, but you've got to allow guys who are Trevor Bauer to be Trevor Bauer, right? Mm-hmm. So if I'm Ozuna yesterday and he did the bat flip and he did all these weird little he was doing the selfie thing. He was doing the selfie thing up the base paths and he continued to mock and taunt them because again, this goes back to they were upset with Trevor Bauer hooting and hollering after every strikeout the day before. I am all for pitchers doing what Bauer did, and I am all for with Ozuna what he did yesterday. It adds to the back and forth because half the time I know people are all about sportsmanship and you're all about doing what's right. Just because you taunt the other team doesn't mean that that's the wrong thing to do. And it depends how you're taunting too, by the way. Like if you're up by 15 runs and you're still doing it, okay. But in a playoff game, you go through hell and back in a long 162 game regular season or a 60 game COVID season. You've been through hell and back to get to this point. Enjoy it. That's what you played all year for. All these players risked their health to be able to play in the playoffs. And you finally get there. You deserve to have a little fun. So I had no problem with it. I just like to point out the hypocrisy. But the game of baseball, when we try to preach about how it's a sport that is all about tradition, but yet you have players and managers and front offices who are approaching baseball unlike we've ever seen baseball be approached before. You can't have it both ways. You can't tell your fan base that we're America's pastime while putting a product that looks nothing like its pastime out on the field. And that's what the Reds are, and I've said this before. So we talked about the NBA. The NBA, some people don't like the NBA today because look how many threes they shoot. Like single players, and like Steph Curry will miss more threes than what most teams took in the early 2000s, which fine. That's fine. The game is adapted. But you know why the Golden State Warriors with Steph Curry and Klay Thompson shoot that many threes? It's because they're capable of making them. The Cleveland Cavaliers this year were one of the worst three-point shooting teams in the league. Right. They also they weren't even in the top 10 in three-pointers attempted. And why is that? Because they're not a good three-point shooting team, so you got to play to your strengths. The Cavs really didn't figure out what their strengths were, but that's a conversation for later. My point is that basketball team right there, hey, we're not a three-point shooting team. We're going to find other ways to win, whether it's throwing it into the post, creating isolation plays for your guards or whatever. You find other ways to win. In football, if you're not, like, for instance, the Browns, they're not a great passing team. They have weapons that they should be a good passing team, but they're not a great passing team right now. So what are they doing? They're not going to try and throw it 150 times a game. They are just going to keep handing it off. But if they had that baseball approach, it's, oh, man, look at the Chiefs. Look at the Ravens. Look at all the good teams. They're throwing the ball. Baker, even though you're not that great a thrower, we're going to make you throw it anyways. That's the baseball approach, and that's why the sport is suffering. This baseball is hard to watch, not just because the Reds didn't win or because they didn't score. It's because they didn't score because they keep trying to play in a way that they are not. And that's my biggest problem. I would have a problem with it in any sport. So there you go.
Let me ask you this. So the Twins are done. White Sox, they won their series. The Tribe, they're done. Reds, done. St. Louis has game, 3 versus the Padres? What is that, tonight or tomorrow night?
I'm checking. There's so many games. It's just, it reminds me of March Madness. But I'm assuming everything, they're continuing to play. They're playing tonight. They play tonight at 7.
They're still playing. And the Cubs are playing now, playing for their lives. Do you think any of this has to do with both these teams being in the Central Division, that they basically played each other the entire season, and some of the stats from the Cleveland Indians pitching staffs were inflated because they played bad teams like the Brewers, like the Pirates and stuff like that, and teams like the Braves, they played the Marlins, and the Yankees were playing, the Rays and everything like that, and those teams are still going on. I just think it's weird that both the AL Central and NL Central, basically, they're about to be out of here.
Yeah, the Cubs could potentially be knocked out. The Reds have been knocked out. The Cardinals could be knocked out. And that was what we bragged about is, that division right there, that's the best division in baseball. Or the deepest. Like, because they have 4 of their 5 teams make it. And I'm like, that's very impressive. That's a huge talking point. But they just beat up on one another. I think it's a very average, deep division. I think if you played out 162 games, I don't think the Reds make the playoffs. And I don't believe they finish in second or third in that division. So there's that. I don't think that they're as bad as what they've been throughout this rebuild. So to sum up, the Reds, I'm disappointed in their playoff, their playoff performance. I feel weird. I almost feel like I would have been more content with them not making the playoffs than watching what they did. No, I think a lot of fans would agree.
No way.
I think the narrative, if I'm David Bell's job was safer not making the playoffs than the way they performed in the playoffs.
Why? Because all eyes were on?
Because for one, they spend all that money for one to get there, but also how do you not keep them? They spend a lot of money in the offseason, but it was on Moose. It was on Moustakas. Right. It was on Castellanos. It was supposed to add to as a manager, just like a coach in any other sport, you're supposed to build on the success you had the year before. You don't take a step back. The team hit 249 last year. You added 2 all-stars to your offense, and you added Akiyama, another. They hit 212 this year. You took a step back. They took a step back in every major offensive statistical category this year. Home runs, base hits, doubles, triples. They only had 3 triples all year.
Now, the baseball fans will say, 1, they made the playoffs, and that's important. 2, the other thing they'll say is it was a shortened season, so we didn't get a chance to the whole 162 that they play over time that would have averaged out to get them where they were supposed to be. That's what people will say. I will say that for me, I always look at it as, all right, man, we at least got to make the playoffs. And then once we make the playoffs, I was like, my next thing is all right, let's win a opening round. And then when it looks things ain't gonna go my way, man, we can't get swept. So I'm always finding things to hold on to, especially in baseball, because like I talked about before, I am only that way with baseball. I am more on your wave of thinking when it's basketball and football. You got to win. If you don't win, it's a waste of a season, because that's where my fandom is. That's how I know I am a true fanatic for the Indians, because I would grasp on the straws for any type of victory or moral victory we can have. If I was a Reds fan, I would be holding on to the fact that we didn't make the playoffs for 7 years and we finally made it back, be it a COVID season or not. I would view that as progress.
All right, 457-9464. How would you grade the 2020 Cincinnati Reds? Was this season a success in your eyes? 457-9464 will officially open up the phone lines to you, 457-9464. And again, keep that in mind. We're going to take your calls. We'll get your Facebook reaction here. We are live on Facebook. Head to the Justin Kinner Show on Facebook, and you can watch us live there. You can leave your comments in the chat section, and we'll be able to get your opinion on the 2020 Cincinnati Reds. We got a lot to get into. We're going to go 3 and out with the Cleveland Browns and Cincinnati Bengals. 4 reasons why both teams will win, and 3 reasons why we believe both teams will win, and 3 reasons why we believe both teams could lose this weekend. The Bengals are favored in their matchup against the Jaguars. The Browns are an underdog against the Dallas Cowboys. The high school football playoff is the whole field is set. And we have every matchup here locally. We'll give you every team made the playoffs this year. We'll give you every team's first round playoff matchup. Some teams have some buys already, so we'll get into that coming up around the corner as well. But let's continue talking Reds. Reds fans, how would you grade this season? What grade would you give the 2020 Cincinnati Reds? Was this season that ended in the playoffs, although embarrassingly, how would you grade it? Was it a successful season? We'll discuss when we come back. Don't go anywhere.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
On this happy Friday, we're watching partly cloudy skies, a high of 60 degrees, partly cloudy and dry overnight with a low of 40. And tomorrow, mostly cloudy and a high of 63 degrees. And I'm Lorna Stevens for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Strict attention to detail. That's what sets Kubota construction equipment apart. It's how we maximize performance, increase strength, and give you the dependability you demand. We engineer our equipment precisely at every level. It's what makes us a leader. Save up to $11,000 on construction equipment or get 0% APR financing for 60 months. After December 31st, 2020. See us or go to KubotaUSA.com for more information.
See Columbus Equipment Company, 7570 New Carlisle Pike in Dayton.
I am attorney David Brannon, and I'm running for Montgomery County Probate Court Judge on November 3rd. If you ever get married, claim an inheritance, or care for aging parents who cannot care for themselves, you may find yourself in need of the probate court. Over the past 15 years, I've worked hard to protect those in need and to get the right answers for families in probate court. I'm also certified by the Ohio State Bar Association as an expert in probate law. Families need speedy and fair decisions. I have the dedication and compassion to be there for your family, so please vote for me, David Brannon, November 3rd. I am David Brannon, and I approve this message.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control of your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problem now by calling the experts at U.S. Tax Shield and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, so call now. 800-687-5192. That's 800-687-5192. U.S. Tax Shield. 800-687-5192. Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control of your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problem now by calling the experts at U.S. Tax Shield and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, so call now. 800-687-5192. That's 800-687-5192. U.S. Tax Shield. 800-687-5192.
In these times, it's important to look after yourself. At Kettering Health Network, we offer telehealth video visits so you can see Kettering Physician Network providers from the comfort of your home using your computer, tablet, or phone. With Kettering Telehealth, you can keep up with your wellness visits, see a specialist, and everything in between. Start by visiting ketteringhealth.org/telehealth. Kettering Health Network.
Making it easier for you to get the frickin' chicken. Remember Frickers.com. That puts you in touch with everything you crave. Frickin' chicken wings, burgers, ribs, salads, wraps, everything you crave. Should you crave an ice-cold domestic draft beer? Join us and dine in. We have a 48-ounce personal pitcher for only $6. Dine in, carry out, delivery, and now order online at Frickers.com. The home for fun, food, sports, and spirits is the home to order online at Frickers.com.
For official contest rules, go to wingam.com and click on contests.
Bromley's for Men would physically shave your face for you if we could. Since we can't, we made our 7-blade razor and Get a Grip handle the simple choice for the smoothest shave. Bromley's for Men in the shaving aisle at Kroger.
If you need new roofing, siding or gutters, skylights or patio enclosures, if you're a homeowner or business and need someone you can trust, don't take a chance. Enhance with Lance. Lance Roofing and Siding in Fairborn has been satisfying customers since 1993 and hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Lance Roofing and Siding, 8460 Dayton Springfield Road in Fairborn. Call for a free estimate at 864-2722. That's 864-2722 or online at lanceroofing.com.
Have you ever wanted to learn a new language like French, Spanish, or Russian, but thought it would be too difficult and time-consuming? Then go to Babbel.com and try it for free. Babbel works because it's built around real life. It teaches you everyday practical conversations that you will actually use. In 15 minutes a day, you'll be on your way to speaking a new language in just a few weeks. Babbel uses a modern conversation-based technique that makes language engaging, fun, and memorable. It starts by teaching you words and phrases. Then, sentences gradually get more complex. Soon, you're practicing short conversations about real-life topics. Babbel is created by language experts who use the spaced repetition method to help you learn quickly and remember what you learned. With Babbel, you can speak a new language. Babbel. Language for life. Now try Babbel for free. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
School goes on. Staples has everything to start the year right, no matter where school happens. And all at amazing prices. School on, save on at Staples.
The Miamisburg Vikings versus the Centerville Elks. It's the ESPN Dayton High School football game of the week. Tune in this Friday night at 7 o'clock as Justin Kinner and College Football Hall of Famer Keith Byers call all the action. It's the ESPN Dayton High School football game of the week, presented by Kettering Health Network Orthopedics and Sports Medicine. You can also stream the game live at wingam.com. On Twitter, make sure to give us a follow. Search 1410 Kinner for Justin Kinner on Twitter. That's 1410 KINNER and ESPN Dayton for the station Twitter handle.
All right, you heard it there tonight. Our ESPN Dayton High School football game of the week. College Football Hall of Famer Keith Byers and myself, we will be live at Centerville for Miamisburg and Centerville. A lot of big games around the G-Walk tonight. How about Northmont and Wayne? Northmont and Wayne, that's going to be one of the biggest matchups of the weekend tonight. The good one, Centerville. Every team in the playoff right now. In fact, we now know who everyone's playoff opponent is going to be next week. Centerville has a game. Obviously, Miamisburg, Wayne. Everyone has a game that at least chose to participate in the playoffs coming up. Trotwood's in the playoff. They're only a couple games in. They started late. So we're going to be following all these teams throughout the playoff trail. So we're excited about that. We welcome you back. I'm Justin Kinner. He's Kev Nash. Tune in to the Justin Kinner Show live right now. If you're tuning in on the radio, we always appreciate that. Trust me. But everyone has Facebook. Like the station, like the Justin Kinner Show Facebook page. You can watch the show there and interact with us that way. We talked about the Cincinnati Reds, who I feel like we put so much time and energy into talking about what this team can do and could be come playoff time, and it's like just like that, they're done. And that's what's fun about like really a lot of, college basketball. I mean, we do this all year. Like for instance, the Dayton Flyers or Wright State or Ohio State or whatever the teams are that we follow here locally. We follow along all year, and it's like, man, we just can't wait for March Madness. Like for instance, the Dayton Flyers this past year. Everyone was so highly anticipating the NCAA tournament. It's like you build up all year to get to that point. What happens if they lose in that first round? Mm-hmm. And then it's like, damn, we put all – it reminds me of the year that they lost to Wichita State. There was Archie Miller's last year, and I'll never forget that year because everyone had high expectations for them. They would have run into Kentucky the very next year. That Kentucky team had Bam on it, by the way. That team had a lot of guys on their Bam. I remember being down there, like when he walked by, I'm like, man, that's a big dude. But I never looked at him thinking he'd be one of the top players in the NBA just a few years later. But it's one of those where you put so much time and you would just invest so much emotionally into these teams, and it's like just like that, it could be over. Yeah. And it's like that in college basketball. The NFL, the same thing. For instance, it reminds me of the last time that the Bengals were in the playoffs. We were at a point where the Bengals were winning a lot. They were getting to the playoffs for 5 straight years, but fans stopped caring about the regular season, because everyone knew that the next step in the progression of the Cincinnati Bengals was getting that playoff win. Was, you know, and it's not like they've never won a playoff game before, but, you know, within this last decade or two, it's been a little dry as far as that's concerned. So it's like, you know, it didn't matter. Every time they would get a big win during the regular season in the early 2010s, it stopped mattering as much, especially that last season that they were in, because the only game people cared about was that very first playoff game. Well, guess what? Everyone knows the last time the Bengals were in the playoffs, that historic meltdown that happened at the tail end of that Steelers game, as you're very well aware of. And it's like, so it's like, man, Bengals fans, like, we went through all this all season to get to this, just to have it be taken away from us. It's done. And I feel like that with the Reds right now. All the complaining, all the David Bell chatter, all of, you know, the Trevor Bauer, everything. I mean, so much happened to make this season magical for the Reds that it's like, it's over. How is it over? But it ended the way that the season went. Like they were who they were. That's the only reason I'll defend David Bell here, is they weren't really any different in the playoffs than they were during the regular season. They pitched well. Their bullpen pitched well. They made contact, but they didn't score runs. This wasn't a top run scoring team. This wasn't a top hitting team. They hit 212 on the year. Right? But they pitched really well. So the Reds were who the Reds were. They were in the playoffs what they were in the regular season. So it's like, I want to be upset, but I'm like, well, they didn't really change any. They were who they were, just like they were the last 2 months of the season. So it's a very difficult thing. If you have to give a grade to this Reds team in the playoff, I'm going to give them a C-, D+. You got to reward them for the fact that they took a team.
Strictly in the playoffs grade?
Yeah.
Oh, a strict playoff grade is a D. It's a F. So
I can't fail them. I can't fail the Reds. That Braves team is the second best hitting team in the National League. It's going to be Dodgers Braves in the National League Championship Series. One of those two teams will be in the World Series. That Braves team had 6 games of 12 runs or more this year. Okay. One of those was a 26-run outburst. Okay, this team can hit. This team's good. And the Reds shut them out. They held them to 1 run in 13 innings on Wednesday. And sure, they put up 5 runs yesterday, but some of those runs were tack-on runs at the end of a game that you just knew was over already. That Reds pitching staff shut down that Braves lineup. And I promise you, the Braves are going to put up a ton of runs in this next series, whether it's the Cubs that they face, who also have good pitching, or the Marlins. It's a 0-0 tie right now, last I checked. So I can't give the Reds a failing grade. To me, it's a C-. It's a C- because they like, so for if they wouldn't have pitched well and they didn't hit well and they got beat like 11-0 and 12-0, I'd fail the hell out of them. But we can't ignore what that pitching staff did. I have to try again. It's against everything that I am, and that is a negative person. But I'm being dead serious. I'm not as down on them as what most people are, because they really did play well. And even if you look at Wednesday, you don't leave 13 runners on base if you're not active. Like, we're talking about the failures of being able to bring the runners in, but at least they were in contention to bring those runs in. Now, that sounds like a weird loser approach to think about this, but I am trying to be positive. I thought that the Reds were very aggressive. They just weren't smart. This is the problem I have with David Bell not being aggressive during the regular season, Kevin, because when you try to be aggressive in the playoffs, it's foreign nature to you at that point. You haven't been aggressive all year, and now you want to try to be aggressive in the playoffs, and it bit them in the ass on a few occasions where they got thrown out. It was bad base running. So to me, I know people aren't used to hearing me say positive things, but I am going to give the Reds a C-. A C. I'm just going to give them a solid C. They get a C on their playoff performance, even though they were swept, because it's not like they didn't go down swinging, even though they really did go down not swinging on more than one occasion. But you see my point. So there's that.
So prior to the series, if I told you the team that scored a total of 6 runs for the series was going to win it, who would you thought won?
I would have thought the Braves. I still would have thought the Braves, because we always knew what the Reds were capable of with pitching, but we also knew how bad they were capable of being with hitting. I mean, 2 weeks ago, the only their starters have been pitching well all season. The only reason they got into the playoff conversation is because they started swinging the bat over the last 2 weeks. So that's the only thing they were doing the last 2 weeks that was different than the rest of the season, was the fact that they were actually putting the bat on the ball. Well, they went back to their normal self, and they were the 212 team that they were, as opposed to that team that was hitting almost 300 over the last 2 weeks.
You like this layout, this wild card, best of 3?
It needs to be 3. I think the NBA needs to go to 3. I love the 3 because Game 1's very important, but I love the automatic elimination game in Game 2. You get the feeling out in Game 1. I love that. And then you have that decisive Game 3 if it comes down to it. If things are normal and you're playing 162 regular season games, I hate that it comes down to one game at the end. Like, I feel like you play too much, go through way too much just to get one chance. I think 3 is fair. I really do hope that they eliminate the one game, wild card games and go to 3. I think 3 games is great. And I love the World Series being 7, maybe the Championship Series being 7, but the first 2 rounds should be 3.
I'm with that. I'm with the wild card going 3, the next round, best of 5, 7-7. Like, I like that. But this is, if I was like a super baseball fanatic, this was gold right here. It's just like you said, it's like March Madness. Because
do you mean the format of how many teams made it?
No, just a wild card. I don't even mind all these teams being in it, to be perfectly honest, because I mean, I know we're dealing with COVID and we're home and we're around TVs way more than we're normally being around TVs and everything like that. But just the fact that you turn on the TV and the sports on all the time now, like, it's pretty entertaining. And I caught that home run last night, man, and I was locked in for a couple innings, man. And I don't watch the Padres, man, but I watched that because it was entertaining. And, so much is on the line already. Like you said, I mean, game 1 is a must win. We hear that saying like, oh, this is a must win. No, this is really a must win. The first game, you can't be out here messing around. This isn't like the NBA where, LeBron has this crazy record in game 1s of the NBA finals. He has a losing record in game 1s, but he has a great record in game 2s because it uses as a filling out process. You can't do that in baseball. You have to come out and win, especially when it's only a 3-game series. I like that. I think maybe they should expand the amount of teams that go into that wild card spot and keep this 3-game format. I really like it.
All right, real quick. And by the way, David says, what's the number to call in again? David, it's 457-9464. We'll open up the phone lines now. But again, I asked you guys to give a grade to the Cincinnati Reds. What grade would you give the Reds for their playoff performance? I gave them a C because as everyone's focusing on the negative of the fact that they did not score runs, they need to score runs. But the Reds were who they were. The Reds were in the postseason what they were in the regular season. Bad hitting team. Not good, they weren't a good base running team, but they were one hell of a pitching team. And that definitely was on full display in the only 2 games of the Reds 2020 postseason run. So what grade would you give them? John Slayden sends us a book. He goes, not really a success for the Reds. Again, we're live on Facebook, and anytime you leave a comment in the comments section, we'll pull it into the show. John Slayden says that not really a success for the Reds. He goes on to say that they only made the playoffs due to the expanded field. And on paper, they had the best team in years and really underachieved. Actually, they would have made the playoffs even in the regular format. They would have made the playoffs in the regular format. But I know people keep saying, but no, they honestly would have made the playoffs in the regular format. Bell and the staff did a poor job getting the maximum out of them. And next year's team will look a lot different. After the money that was spent this year, they'll take a step back next year. I hope I'm wrong. But after watching them for the past many years, I'm pessimistic. Just my 3 cents. Grade C-. Man, Slayden goes, that's my 2 cents, not 3. Slayden's, let's be clear, your entire explanation for why you're down on this team was worse than the actual grade you gave them. I don't mean you don't have a bad take. What I mean is there was a lot of negativity in there for you to give them a C-. I think a C- is a good grade. Now, again, you're talking to, that was my college approach too. A C is always great, So, yeah, your mic's off.
Good enough.
So, but yeah, he gives them a C-. But you're right. And John, that was my whole approach. We had Hal McCoy on last week. I remember asking him, it's one thing, you could be excited about this team making the playoffs this year, but I feel like, let's use the Cubs as an example. Years ago, when the Cubs made the playoffs, after they had Chris Bryant and they go out and they get Madden and they finally, the things started coming together. They developed a lot of talent and then they plugged a lot of holes in free agency. They started hitting their stride. They made the playoffs a year earlier than they were expected. And then it's like once they made the playoffs that year, you felt like, oh man, we have something special. We're good this year, but we're going to be even better next year. I don't think the Reds feel that way. They made the playoffs this year. You would think that after not making it for 7, that you would feel good about that and think that you're, on the way to being better. I don't feel like the Reds making the playoffs was a foot forward in regards to many feet forward to, for the process. I just think that this was something that, they took advantage of a 60-game season. They don't make the playoffs in 162 if they have to play out the rest of the season. But it is what it is at this point. I thought that was interesting as far as that is concerned. Let's see what else we have on Facebook. Don Roberts says, are you really surprised this happened to the Reds? Did you really think they could win in the first round, hitting 221 as a team? Don, you're wrong. They're 212 as a team. But look, with the way that pitching Was. The Reds had 13 runners on base in game one. You bring in 2, you win the game. You bring in 1, you win the game. As far as I'm concerned, with the way the Reds played on Wednesday. Yesterday, I'm not going to look at all 5 runs that the Braves scored and say, the last 2, Adam Duvall, of course, of all guys, gets a late home run to kind of, seal the deal. But no, I'm not surprised, Don, but I will say this, with the way the pitching performed so fantastic that, yes, they could have actually hit that low of an average, had 1 to 2 runs scored. They could have probably won this series with 4 runs total in 2 games with the way that they pitched. And unfortunately, it didn't work out that way. All right, so we've gone to the Facebook feed. There's more we'll get into, but let's go to the phones. We got David. David, how are you, sir?
Not bad. How are you?
Not too bad, unless you're going to cuss me out.
No, I don't plan on cussing you out. Never have, never will. Anyways, it's a mixed bag with me with the Reds. Obviously, the first thing I got to get off the chest is I'm a Braves fan, so obviously it comes as greatness that we actually finally won a series, but it's also painful because I live here in Dayton, so obviously I'm a Reds fan as well, so that series always kills me when the Braves go against the Reds, so I got that out of the way. The Reds fan in me, it's a mixed bag. You and I have talked many times about how we both hate David Bell. So, yes, you can give David Bell a pass, I guess, on one hand because they were exactly what we thought they were in the playoffs. But on the other hand, the reason I don't give him a pass has been the issues that we've had with David Bell for however many years. 2 years he's been manager now? 3 years?
2 years now.
Yeah, 2 years. Okay. Well, in those entire 2 years, I feel you, me, and a bunch of others have been saying the exact same thing. He doesn't bunt. He doesn't move runners over. He doesn't steal. He doesn't hit behind. They don't teach him to hit behind runners. Well, all that came through to fruition in this series. If one of the guys gets on first base, they bunt him over, and you get one of those singles, and you come in. Yep. And there's your 1 run, and then they're probably walking out of game 1 with the victory. Another problem that there's been going on with this team for 2 years, they can't run the bases. Well, that came back out to kick them in the teeth again. Cassiano's running the third with the ball in front of him. You're taught that from Little League Baseball. I played baseball my entire life. You're taught that from Little League Baseball. The ball's in front of you, got calls on you. Okay, you want to fade towards the side of aggression? Okay, maybe, possibly, but there's aggression, and then, in my opinion, there's stupidity. Going to third base on that ball is stupidity. The ball's right there. Duvall has an arm. And
they should have all teams know that too, by the way.
Right, exactly. and then you want to try some peewee little league ball, first to third move on action there to get the other guy thrown out. I mean, it's. And then the biggest one to me is you see what type of game it is in game 1. You have overrated Joey Votto standing at second base with 1 out. And I understand it's 1 out and you don't want to get doubled off. But the third baseman had as much chance of catching that line drive as you and I do standing right here, right now today. And you go back 2 steps and you don't get driven in on one of Suarez's only hits during the entire series. That you have to score there. You have to score there from second base. Everyone's going to sit there and say, oh, the third baseman could have caught the line drive. No, he wasn't. He wasn't catching that ball. He dove to do exactly what he did. Dupe Joey Votto to go back to second base, and now he's going to run to third base, and what wound up happening? He got stranded. And that's the problem. They don't know how to base run. They don't know how to hit. They don't know how to bunt, so they can't manufacture runs, and the only way they can get runs is exactly what they did in the 60-game sprint, hit home runs. And that's been my problem since day one when Bell started managing this team. So you want me to give them a grade, it's hard for me to give them a grade because, like you said, on one hand, they made the playoffs. So that's a positive. That's always a positive when you make it to the second season. Then my sports smartness comes in. Well, the only reason they made the playoffs is because they expanded the playoffs. You run 16 into this playoffs, you extrapolate the record out to 162 games, they're an 83-win team. You're not making the playoffs with an 83-win team. This team would not have made the playoffs in a 162-game schedule. I don't care how you spit it out to me. They're not going to. So on that aspect of it, it's a failure. David, so I guess you have to break it down to what grades you give. David Bell is an F. The offense as a whole is an F. The pitching is A+. So as the organization has to look at this, you have to give everything you can get to Trevor Bauer to get him to come back. The problem of the matter is I don't think Trevor Bauer is going to come back to this team because he knows the offense they have, and it's not going to get any better. You put all your money into two baskets, Moustakas and Castellanos, and there's a reason why the two teams that they played for last year didn't want them.
Real quick, Moose, I thought underachieved more. Castellanos, if you could only pick one of those two to come back, I'd pick Castellanos in a heartbeat. I thought he was the most consistent of any Red all season. I'm sure he died. I mean, he played at such a high clip to start that, of course, he was naturally going to look like he was coming down. But even when he was coming down, he still played above the back of his baseball card. I like Castellanos. If I could only pick between him and Moustakas, I would do everything I could to get Castellanos back. I thought he was a good energy guy.
I agree with that, and I also agree with he played with above the stats on his back of his card. So I guess I was too hard with my initial comment on Castellanos. You kind of talked me off of that one. So I would bring him back too, but I'm looking at the other ones. Shogo Okiyama. To me, I know he's young, and I know it's his first year from Japan, but I didn't see anything I like out of that kid. I'm sorry, I just don't.
I think David Bell ruined him they brought him in. Remember all the headlines? It was such a big deal that they signed him, right? Well, can you think of any time where you have a huge signing like that, and then all of a sudden you just don't start him on opening day? Like the Reds did, David Bell didn't start him on opening day, and then in game 2, and David, thank you. I hate to cut you off. We just got to hit this break. But Akiyama ended up playing the next day, but they only batted him 6th. Like all the press conferences were all about Akiyama being the best, the leadoff guy, which is something the Reds have been looking for a long time. They tried to force Billy Hamilton to be that guy. He has the speed of a leadoff guy, but we all know Billy Hamilton couldn't hit. Akiyama could do a little bit of both. I still like Akiyama, but again, you have to use him correctly if David Bell hasn't ruined him already. A lot more grades coming in the comments section. We'll share those when we come back. More of the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash when we come back. David, thank you for the call, my man. Appreciate it.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Roosters would like to thank all of our loyal guests and all the loyal Buckeye fans for your support this year. Because of you, we've been able to stay open and keep our award-winning team employed. Our team members go above and beyond and are dedicated to providing you and your family the safest dining experience possible while still providing a fun, casual atmosphere to relax, laugh, and enjoy our award-winning food. Roosters, the official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Hey, it's Justin Kinner from the Justin Kinner Show, and I wanted to take some time to tell you about my great experiences with CertaPro Painters. That's right, my experiences, as in more than one. I have had CertaPro Painters complete quite a few painting projects for me over the years, and every time they knock it out of the park, whether it was the Ohio State-themed office with the Buckeye stripe wrapped around the room, or when they painted my entire house before move-in day, I could not believe that they knocked out our entire house in just one day. CertaPro Painters knows how to get the job done right, and most importantly, safely during these times. They deliver what they promise. They show up on time, they get the job done right, and on budget. Whether it is residential or commercial, interior or exterior, CertaPro Painters will take care of you from the first initial free estimate all the way up to the final brush of paint on your project. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. They are a local business that you can support. Schedule your free estimate online at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control of your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problem now by calling the experts at U.S. Tax Shield and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, so call now. 800-687-5192. That's 800-687-5192. U.S. Tax Shield. 800-687-5192. Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control of your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problem now by calling the experts at U.S. Tax Shield and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, so call now. 800-687-5192. That's 800-687-5192. U.S. Tax Shield. 800-687-5192.
Save big money in your next project at Menards. Choose your paint colors with confidence with Dutch Boy Paints. They provide a beautiful look to your projects and are durable in indoor and outdoor applications. Right now, all Dutch Boy Paints are 11% off. Stop waiting and start saving today on everything you need. Prices are good until October 3rd. Savings are a mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control of your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problem now by calling the experts at U.S. Tax Shield and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, so call now. 800-687-5192. That's 800-687-5192. U.S. Tax Shield. 800-687-5192.
We saved big money with our Progressive Home and Auto Bundle and used the cash to take a family vacation.
To Hawaii.
Who's up for a luau?
Yeah!
This is not a real testimonial. Sure, customers can save big money with Progressive, but not enough to go to Hawaii. They'll probably use it for things like the mortgage and groceries, or even a travel magazine, so at least they can see pictures of Hawaii.
Aloha!
Yes, say hello to those beautiful Hawaiian beaches in that magazine. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
College football, it's the game you wake up early on Saturdays for, even though kickoff isn't until 7. The game where the Goodyear blimp becomes a Hall of Famer. The game that goes just beyond school, spirit, fandom, or love of the sport. It's the game where the comebacks happen. It's the game where anything can and will happen as long as you have the drive. Because college football is the game that moves you. We get it because it moves us too. Goodyear, more driven.
School goes on. Staples has everything to start the year right, no matter where school happens. And all at amazing prices. School on, save on at Staples.
Tune in every Friday night at 7 o'clock for the ESPN Dayton High School Football Game of the Week, presented by Kettering Health Network Orthopedics and Sports Medicine. Check out wingam.com for the complete schedule and archive games. All
right, and we are back. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash with you here on a Friday. Just a reminder, head to wingam.com. And if you're watching live on Facebook, there you see it, the Pro Football Pick'em Challenge. It's up at wingam.com. It's already week 4 of the NFL season. Unbelievable.
Yeah, buddy. My team's not playing this week.
But we've had 4 weeks of winners. Winners will begin picking up their prizes starting next week. We'll be in contact with them again. So 4 weeks of winners, or 3 weeks of winners, I'm sorry. We're about to have 4 weeks of winners. $25 in Frickers Fun Bucks are rewarded to the weekly round winners. You can win more than once. If you haven't participated yet, that's fine. You can register now. It's free. And if you get the most picks right for that week's NFL games, you, of course, can come away with the $25 in Frickers Fun Bucks. So go to wingam.com. It is presented by Frickers, of course. It's the Pro Football Pick'em Challenge. And make sure you submit your weekly picks coming up here in just a few moments. Kev and I will be going giving you our week 4 picks as far as that's concerned. How about the Jets? The disaster that is the Jets continued last night.
The road to 0-16.
They got a tough decision to make with Sam Darnold. It's not Sam Darnold's fault why they're bad, but I think it's a situation like they might have ruined him. Too many quarterbacks are ruined in the National Football League. And Bengals fans got all upset when national media was bringing that up. I mean, national media was acknowledging that a lot of quarterbacks get ruined in the NFL, and it's because they go to certain franchises. Now, the Bengals at least had at least a history with quarterbacks that doesn't show that they destroy them. But hey, the offensive line could potentially do that to Burrow, but Burrow's showing signs. But look, so did Sam Darnold showed a lot of great signs in his rookie season. Baker showed a lot of great signs in his rookie season. So enjoy the rookie season because that's the honeymoon period. It's that second year where you really get to find out what you have. And we're going to talk about that in Baker Mayfield. We're going to go 3 in and 3, or we're going to go 3 and out with the Browns and Bengals coming up. 3 reasons why we believe both teams will win this weekend and why both teams will lose this weekend. That's coming up around the corner. David says, thanks for taking my call, guys. He'll call in later if he's allowed. You mean by us or your wife or your boss? I don't know. David, you're always welcome to call back in. We were talking Reds. Dan Casaban on Facebook says, I miss Castellanos. Maybe he'll get traded back to Detroit. Dan, I'm assuming that you are a Tigers fan. I'm assuming that that's what that means. But no, I really do. I liked Castellanos. I think that the worst thing for Castellanos is that he started out so hot, so his numbers were like sky high, Kev. Mm-hmm. And then when he started flatlining and just playing normal, still getting on. I mean, take a look, folks. He led the Reds in every major offensive statistical category, except for home runs. And he still had a lot of home runs. So this is a guy that was the most consistent Reds hitter, but he had such a hot start that if you looked at his numbers, they were declining as the season went on. They were just declining back to his normal numbers. So he provided what you needed out of him. Moustakas, feel bad for him because opening day, he crushed the ball opening day. He was hitting right off the bat. And then he had the COVID scare at the beginning. He missed some time there. Then he had an injury later. So there was 2 chunks of time, which may not seem like a lot, but in a 60-game season, absolutely, it is a lot. Moustakas was never really to get back into the swing of things, no pun intended, but you needed more out of Moustakas. You needed more out of Castellanos. You needed more. And forget Castellanos. He was on base, Cons. The only reason we're talking about him getting thrown out on that occasion is because he was at least on base. He was trying to make something happen. Got to be smarter than that, but I'm not going to hold that against him as far as that's concerned. We're giving the Reds a grade. Doug Tobey, he's giving the Reds, just like David did, he separated everything. Doug Tobey is giving the Reds an A for their pitching, C- for coaching, a B- for defense, and an F. Actually, these aren't minuses. These are dashes in between. I see what you did there, Doug. I get an F for comprehension. How about that? An A for pitching, C for coaching, a B for defense, and an F for hitting playoff grades. I think that's fair. Because it's tough to give this team just one overall grade. I did like an average. I gave him a C. People thought I was crazy for giving him a C, but I think by giving him an F, you were totally ignoring just how great they pitched. And Trevor Bauer, I got to give Luis Castillo a shout out too, because I was worried about him in his very first game ever in the playoffs. And you would not have been able to tell that based on his approach on the mound. Sorry, Kev, I'm ignoring it. I got one more grade to give. Keith Tolliver says, so stranded runners multiple times on first and third, no outs, and you give a bad grade. So you're saying this is normal. Nah, easy D- and a waste of talent. That's just pathetic. If it wasn't for the pitching, it would be an incomplete grade. If it wasn't for the pitching, it would be an F. I acknowledge you're saying the same thing as me, Keith. I'm not giving a pass to anything else, but you can't ignore what they did. Like, they didn't just pitch good.
Hold on, read that one more time.
So stranded runners multiple times on first and third with no outs, and you give a bad grade.
Okay.
So you're saying this actually, Keith, go ahead and elaborate on this. What are you trying to say? So you're saying this is normal, easy D- and a waste of talent. I don't know if it was a waste of talent. You had guys on base. Like, I think we are. How do you word this though? Because you had runners on base. To say bad offense, when I think of bad offense, it's just, they couldn't hit and they couldn't score runs. Well, they hit. They had 11 hits. They had 13 guys on base. They combined for 15, 16 hits, and they had almost 20 combined on base, runners on base in 2 games, and they didn't bring one in. They fail as far as that's concerned. But to sit there and say that the offense was horrible from top to bottom, I think that's in between. I think that's in between as far as that's concerned. Ron Moreland says, sorry, Kev, one more. Ron Moreland, he says that the Reds get an F. Wait, what? Ron, I'll figure that out later. We'll try to read yours later as far as that's concerned, coming up here in just a few moments. Let's get to some NFL talk. We're going to get back into the Reds later on in the show, but I want to get into our Week 4 NFL picks. We'll talk Browns. We'll talk Bengals. We'll also go 3 and out with the Browns and Bengals coming up around the corner as well. Plus, we have high school football matchups. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a moment. I already said that. Don't go anywhere. It's Friday. Get me the hell out of here.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
With so many new pet owners, Kezia's Grooming can't keep up.
Kezia's Grooming? Sorry, we'll book solid through the weekend. I can give you a call back, though, if something opens up.
It's time to hire.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. The moment you sponsor a job on Indeed, you get a short list of quality candidates from our resume database. Indeed delivers 2.5 times more hires than the other branded job sites combined, according to Breezy HR 2019. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get a $75 credit for your first job post. Terms and conditions apply.
Have you wanted to speak a new language, but thought it would be too difficult? Then try Babbel. Babbel starts by teaching you words and phrases that gradually get more complex. Soon, you're practicing short conversations. So in 15 minutes a day, you'll be speaking a new language in a few weeks. Babbel is built around real life. It teaches you practical conversations that you will actually use. Babbel, language for life. Now try Babbel for free. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a language today. That's BABBEL.com.
Strict attention to detail. That's what sets Kubota construction equipment apart. It's how we maximize performance, increase strength, and give you the dependability you demand. We engineer our equipment precisely at every level. It's what makes us a leader.
Save up to $11,000 on construction equipment or get 0% APR financing for 60 months. Now through December 31st, 2020. See us or go to KubotaUSA.com for more information.
See Columbus Equipment Company, 7570 New Carlisle Pike in Dayton.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control of your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problem now by calling the experts at U.S. Tax Shield and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, so call now. 800-687-5192. That's 800-687-5192. U.S. Tax Shield. 800-687-5192.
Beware, the forces of hail will rain down upon you.
What the hail?
Storms, the threat of eternal hail.
Who the hell was that, honey?
Hail if I know.
What the hell did he want?
He was hail concerned about us getting a roof inspection.
Hell of a way to tell you about it.
Lance Roofing and Siding is your local expert in everything hail can damage on your home. Have unsightly hail damage? Visit us at lanceroofing.com to schedule your appointment today.
School goes on. Staples has everything to start the year right, no matter where school happens. And all at amazing prices. School on, save on at Staples.
NFL fans, the season is finally here. Touchdown! Get your picks submitted at wingam.com. Click on contest and enter the Pro Football Challenge. Weekly winners will win $20 in Frickers Fun Bucks. Get to wingam.com and get your NFL picks submitted now.
Touchdown!
incredible! Good luck. Whether you're at home, at work, or in your car, tune in to ESPN 1410 Wing AM or stream us live at wingam.com. We are Dayton's home of the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Into the end zone goes Chris Olave. KJ Hill, 6-yard touchdown catch. Right sideline and down he goes to the end zone.
WING 1410 Dayton, Dayton's ESPN Radio. It's the Justin Kinner Show, live here on ESPN Dayton, 1410 Wing AM. Tweet the show at 1410 Kinner or give us a call at 457-9464. We now send you to the Wing Studios in Kettering. Here's your host, Justin Kinner.
So the Reds are out of the playoffs, but we are keeping an eye on some of the other playoff games right now around Major League Baseball. The Marlins and Cubs playing today. 0-0 tie in the top of the sixth inning. Again, that series, the Marlins lead. The Cubs are trying to fight off elimination. Their game got postponed due to weather yesterday. And, speaking of postponements, the Titans and the Steelers, their game was postponed this weekend till later on. We finally have an update on that as far as when they will play. So that's coming up here around the corner. We'll get into some more of the NFL discussion. Final news and notes as far as the comment section is concerned in response to the Reds. We'll take those comments at on the Facebook page, The Justin Kinner Show on Facebook. Give that a follow. Leave your notes in the comment section, and we will interact with you that way. Or you can call us at 457-9464. Coming up, we'll go 3 and out with the Browns and Bengals just around the corner. We'll also give you our Week 4 NFL picks. Keep in mind, we do have high school football tonight. Keith Byers and I will be live in Centerville. Miamisburg, Centerville, kickoff at 7 o'clock. You can tune into the game and listen in on 1410 ESPN Radio and, of course, online at wingam.com. We're always amazed at how many people tune in on the stream, and it's always cool that, again, right now with limitations to go to games, still a lot of fans at games. For the amount of I still can't get over that. When that was announced that, there would be a lot of limits on how many, fans could attend high school games, Kev, I was expecting ghost towns. And I'm not saying that it's just as good as a full stadium, but I tell you what, the schools have done a good job of trying to keep people separated, but those are still some pretty good atmospheres at games. And I tell you what, tonight's going to be there's a lot of good games. Centerville, Miamisburg is going to be good, but Wayne and Northmont, that's a game right there that a lot of people have circled as well as tonight's the last game, the last week of the regular season.
Crazy.
Playoffs start next week.
Yeah. You've been doing this a long time, doing high school football games, and everything that's been going on with COVID, and now that everybody's available for the playoffs, man, what do you think is going to happen? Are we going to see more upsets, or it's going to be kind of like the status quo?
I think you're going to see a lot of upsets, but I don't know how much of true upsets they are, mainly because you've had 6 weeks, which seems like a good amount of games, but at the same time, you've had 6 weeks to try to figure out an entire bracket in different regions and different divisions. I think a lot of teams are going to be not properly seeded. So sometimes if you see a lower seed knock off a higher seed, or a higher seed knocking off a lower seed, or whatever you call it, I don't know how much of those are true upsets. We know who a lot of the top teams are. Look, Springfield's going to be good come playoff time. I really like Wayne, Cam Fancher, their quarterback. I tell you what, of all the players we've watched, and again, this is no slight to any of the players we've watched, but Cam Fancher has been. I've enjoyed my time watching him the most. He's been fantastic. Chase Harrison at Centerville's a really good quarterback, and we've seen him get better each week. But the quarterback, and Tayshawn Smoot at Springfield's really good too. Again, it's the quarterback is so different. Just do the GWAT games we've covered, but we haven't branched out there. Northmont, I haven't had a chance to see their quarterback either. But I'm a big fan of what we've seen in the games that we've called here. But I don't know, again, how many of these are going to be called upsets. I don't know. I think it's tough to seed. There's no playoff point system. It's just, I think coaches were a big part of seeding these teams as well.
You think that's something that's going to continue? Does everybody's available for the playoffs?
I sure as heck hope not. I sure as heck hope not. I sure as heck hope not. As far as I'm concerned, I really don't. I don't want that. And we've talked about this. I was upset when they expand. Keep in mind, this year, they were going to expand the playoff anyway, or maybe that was going to start next year. There's so many changes to everything that I can't keep up. But they were going to expand the high school football playoffs, which isn't a huge deal. But at the same time, it was going to go from 200-something to 300-something or whatever it was. I'm not a big fan of expanding the playoffs or having everybody get in, because the one thing that's magical about the high school playoff for football is the fact that it's rare to make it. So, some schools live there, all right, but other schools, like, for instance, I went to Van Wert High School. That team rarely makes the playoff. It only has a handful of playoff appearances. It's not many, but when they do make it, it is special. Like this year, they're really, really good. Like, they were going to make it, whether it was the regular playoff format with the point system or not, they were going to make it. But, like, it waters it down that everyone gets in. Like, we won't look at that team and say that's one of the best teams that school's ever had because everyone's going to make it. So my frustration with that is, like, it's an achievement in itself just to make it. It's kind of like March Madness, the NCAA tournament. You'll have programs go decades without making it. Some to this day have yet to make it. Then you have teams like Northern Kentucky, the very first year that they're NCAA Division I eligible for the tournament, they make it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Northern Kentucky's only been a Division I program for 4 years. They've made the tournament 3 of the 4 years.
Crazy.
Like, isn't that crazy? Like, that they have a great story. I love their story. But when everyone starts getting in, it waters it down. It's not as much of an achievement. That's why the Reds this year, it's like some people aren't really buying into it as much because, they let all these extra teams in, and it just doesn't feel like as much of an accomplishment. It's hard to make the playoffs in baseball. It's hard to make the playoffs in football for some programs. It's hard, So when you do accomplish it, it feels special. I don't know how – it doesn't feel special when everyone makes it, but I think this year they made an exception for the right reasons.
Fair enough.
So we have the high school football matchups that we'll get into coming up around the corner, but let's give our week 4 NFL picks. We got a big week in the NFL, and that's what we're going to pick up with here. We'll give you a handful of games and give you the rest of them on the other end. Plus, we'll get into our 3 and outs with the Cincinnati Bengals and the Cleveland Browns. All right, let's take a look. Again, head to wingam.com. It's our pro football pick'em challenge.
Ooh, new graphic.
Oh, yeah. It's our pro football pick'em challenge presented by Frickers. $25 in Frickers Fun Bucks will be rewarded to the weekly winners. You have to register at wingam.com. So Kev and I right now are using that to submit our weekly picks because we have not done that. Now, we can't win.
Yeah.
But I like to know that I know more about football than you.
Come on, man. Come on. Don't do that to yourself.
I thought you knew.
Come on.
I didn't think we needed to do this, to do that. And, of course, give me 1 second here as I'm getting this pulled up on the screen. So last night the Broncos already beat the Jets. So that game's officially in the books. I did get that one right. So I'm up 1-0. I think we should be tied. That's an easy
we're tied.
That's an easy one. All right, let's kick things off with this. A week 1 matchup or a week 4 matchup with the Colts and the Bears.
Ooh.
Who's winning this matchup right here? The Bears are the worst undefeated team in the National Football League, but they did look like a completely different football team when Nick Foles came into the game. You have Nick Foles against Phillip Rivers, Bears Colts. The Colts are a 3-point favorite. What say you?
I'm going with the Bears, man. Why not pick the Bears? I'm a Nick Foles guy, and I think that Phillip Rivers is done. So that's as simple as it's going to get for me.
All right, I think I'm going to pick the Colts in this situation. 2-1 are the Colts, the Bears 3-0. It would be, imagine if the Bears started out 4-0. Can you think of many teams that start out undefeated the first month of the season and they made a quarterback change and there's a lot of controversy there? That's true. The Bears could start out 4-0. The Colts are a 3-point favorite. We're going to give our upset picks here shortly. I don't really count this as an upset if the Colts been, but technically yes, but I'm going with the Bears. I think the Bears, I should change my mind. I'm going with the Bears. I think they improved to 4-0. I'm picking the Bears.
All right.
The Bears. So there you go. All right. Up next, the Saints and the Lions. How about the Lions getting a surprise win last week against the Cardinals? The Cardinals were a 2-0 team to start, and no one really gave the Lions a lot of chance here, but they're a 4-point underdog. Saints a 4-point favorite. Adam Troutman got a lot of playing time with the Saints last week, which was pretty cool. Do the Saints improve to 2-2 on the season? They beat the Lions?
Michael Thomas is back in the lineup. Saints win.
That's simple?
That's simple. Drew Brees gets his number 1 weapon back. We can talk about Drew Brees being done. I've been saying that for a couple years now. But when you have a receiver like Mike Thomas who can take those short passes and debo people all the way to the end zone, it makes him that much better. So Saints are going to win this game.
David Shaw says he picks the Colts. They've been sacked twice through the first 3 games.
Not bad.
That's that offensive line that if I'm the Colts, I'm still knocking on Andrew Luck's door at the end of the year and saying, hey, like what we did for Old Man Rivers over here, imagine what we can do for you, Mr. Luck. So that offensive line is something.
Yeah.
That's that's pretty cool to be able to brag about that. All right, so moving on, the Seahawks and the Dolphins. Seattle a 6.5-point favorite. Who you got in this one?
Soon to be MVP, Russell Wilson and the boys winning this game.
This is my upset pick of the week right here, the Dolphins.
The Fins, the Fish.
The Dolphins right here. I'm picking the Dolphins. The Dolphins are the only team in the National Football League right now to not turn the ball over. They play a safe style of offense. You have, obviously, an offense that's coming off their first win of the season. I don't think the Dolphins are that good. I just think that this is a good upset pick right here. Again, the Dolphins, 6.5-point favorite is Seattle, but I'm going to pick the Dolphins. The Dolphins have yet to turn the ball over this year, and the Seahawks defense is not good. They have no pass rush
at all.
And look what happened when Fitzpatrick had a lot of time to throw the ball last week. I'm picking the Dolphins. That's my upset pick. Seattle's a 6.5-point favorite, but on our NFL Pro Football Pick'em Challenge, I'm picking the Dolphins over the Seahawks.
And it's Seattle traveling all the way to Miami. You know what I'm saying? That's the furthest distance you can travel from one city to another in the NFL. So, and it's a 1:00 kick. So you might be right.
I know I am. I'm going to be right. Telling you, a lot of upset people who are filling out their picks right now are going to be upset for picking the Seahawks. Up next, we got Ron's Buccaneers, a 7-point favorite, welcoming in Justin Herbert and the Chargers. Justin Herbert will make his third start of his career. I'm sorry. Again, the Bucs, 7-point favorite. I'm taking the Buccaneers in this one. It's going to be, pretty good, very good defense, very good offense. The Chargers, not that good. This is a simple one. I'm taking the Buccaneers right here.
Yeah, I'm going with the Buccaneers as well.
Washington and Baltimore. Baltimore got spanked on Monday Night Football.
Be more.
I really want to see here, again, yes, Baltimore's winning this one, but I want to see how Baltimore responds. Because all year long, you play the game knowing that you're one of the top teams in the National Football League, and it's easy to perform at a high level when you know that. But when you doubt yourself, when you've seen the best team in the National Football League hand it to you the way that they did, does it change your approach, your morale, your confidence? Baltimore beats Washington, but I think it's going to be an ugly game. They are a 14-point favorite, and I don't think the Ravens look sharp in this game. They're going to get a win because it's Washington. They don't have to play their best game to win, but I think you're going to see a little bit of a hangover and a little bit of doubt. They'll get this win, and then I think they'll bounce back next week, but I think they're going to be a little rough in this one.
They're a 14-point favorite?
14-point
They
favorite.
definitely don't cover that. It's like you said, it's going to be an ugly game because Washington still has a good defense. Obviously, the Ravens have a good defense. It's just the fact that, our guy Dwayne Haskins, he is struggling with the Washington football team. Terry McLaurin is questionable for the game. Also, Chase Young is out for the game. So a lot of Buckeyes are out for the Washington Buckeyes. So I'm going to just go with Baltimore.
Yeah, Lamar Jackson has carried the ball he's carried the ball 32 times for 182 yards this year. So I think he's going to add to that run total. I don't think there's going to be a lot of pressure on him coming up this Sunday. Cardinals started the season out 2-0. Were upset, I guess, if you want to call it an upset, to the Lions last week. I don't know how good this Cardinals team is, but they welcome in the Panthers. Arizona, a 3-point favorite. This can go either way, but I'm going to go with the Cardinals. I'm a big Kyler Murray fan. I love the way he started out the season. But Teddy Bridgewater, he's had a lot of yards to start, but not a lot of touchdowns. They don't have a lot of scoring threats over there. I'm taking the Cardinals in this one.
Yeah, they're missing Christian McCaffrey. Like you said, Teddy is a safe passer, ton of yards, but like that weapon, that guy that can go up and get the ball, they don't have that inside the red zone. And them, without McCaffrey, their number one guy, it's hard for them to score the ball. So I'm going to go with Arizona.
All right, up next, we got the Texans and the Vikings. Houston, a 4-point favorite. These are two 0-3 teams. I actually have this one circled as one of the games I'm looking forward to the most. Both teams are desperate. I don't think the Vikings, I know you're very down on them. I don't think the Vikings are as bad as what they've played the first 3 weeks of the season. I definitely don't think the Texans are as bad. But these teams have major deficiencies that have been, their flaws have definitely shown, and that's why they're 0-3 to start. I don't know if either of these are playoff teams at this very moment, but this game could be the one game that we look at for either of these teams and say, hey, when this team turned it around, it was that week 4 matchup. And this could be a lot on this one. I'm going to pick Houston just because it's the better quarterback, more consistent quarterback, but both teams are really struggling. I think the Vikings have more talent on their roster than the Texans do, but I'm always going to go in a close one like this. I'll always go with the better quarterback, and that's obviously Deshaun Watson.
I think this is going to be one of the more entertaining games of the week. I'm going to go with Minnesota. Finally, Jefferson started catching some passes for them, their rookie receiver out of LSU. So I'm going to roll with the Vikings reluctantly.
All right, on to the next one. How about this? The Giants and the Rams. Giants 0-3. I mean, they're battling it out with the Jets to try to be the worst football team in 2020. So the Giants are 0-3. They're going up against the 2-1 Rams. The Rams are an interesting team. This isn't the sexiest Rams roster that they've had in a while, but this looks more like one of the smoothest teams that Sean McVay has had. We'll see if we're still talking about them here in a few months, but very impressive start for them, 2-1. They are a 13-point favorite. This is an easy one. I'm taking Jared Goff and the Rams.
Yeah, rolling with the Rams. They could easily be 3-0 right now. You know, that got that loss last week to Buffalo, but definitely going with the Rams. I mean, the Giants, man. The Giants and the Jets, man. It's the race to 0-16.
Eagles, Niners. San Francisco is 7-point favorite. They beat up on the Giants last week. They got a bad Eagles team coming in. The Niners, who are injured all over the place, they're going to get this win. They're going to be 3-1, and very similar to the Bears, I'm looking at two teams who have had hot starts at least the first month of the season and say, yeah, I'm not buying it. I don't buy either of these teams, the Eagles or the Niners, but I'm going to go with the Niners here. Again, that defense and the struggling Eagles offense against the 49ers defense, which is still solid, even without Nick Bosa, and a couple of their secondary guys, I'm picking the Niners.
Call Keith Byers. We're rolling with Philly.
You rolling with Philly?
I'm rolling with Philly. I think the injuries finally catch up to San Fran in this Sunday night matchup.
All right, Eagles, Niners on Sunday. And again, Niners a 7-point favorite. I'm picking the Niners. Kev's picking an upset if it is an upset. He's picking the Eagles. You mentioned the Bills earlier. The Bills are undefeated, and they might be the new shiny toy on the block, again, especially with Tom Brady out of that division. The Bills are 3-0. The Raiders are 2-1. Buffalo is a 3-point favorite. I'm picking Buffalo. I don't like that line. I think the Bills blow them out. I think they win by at least 14. The Bills are legit. I watched them last week. I was very impressed with them. They look legit. Like, it's not one of the, like, I'm looking at the Bears who are undefeated. The Niners are 2-1. They're going to be 3-1. I watched the Bills, and they look like a legit football team on both sides of the ball. I'm sold on Josh Allen. Josh Allen, if they blow the Raiders out this weekend, we're going to have serious conversations about Josh Allen passing Baker. In my view, I think everyone already believes he has. Josh Allen is already going to be a better quarterback, already may be a better quarterback than Baker Mayfield at this point.
I guess I'm in the upset mood. I think the Raiders are going to win this one. I mean, this is a very important game for them. It's a big difference between being 3-1 and 2-2. And they have to win this game because they're in the same division as KC. So they want to be able to keep pace at least. So I'm going to roll with the Raiders.
All right, you got the Raiders. I got the Bills. Again, if you're just tuning in, it's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. We are live on Facebook. Follow along. Search the Justin Kinner Show on Facebook to leave your picks and your comments in the comments section. Again, it's our ESPN Dayton Pro Football Challenge, and all of these picks are brought to you by Frickers. Submit your weekly picks now at wingam.com. $25 in Frickers Fun Bucks is rewarded to the weekly round winners. So take advantage of that and head to wingam.com and get those picks submitted. Kev and I are doing that now as we speak here live on the air. Patriots, Chiefs. How about this? We talked about all the players in the Patriots that opted out. The offense does not look sexy, at least on paper, but Cam Newton has played better than we anticipated him playing. Him and Edelman have a nice little repertoire going. The run game's solid for the Patriots. The offensive line's solid. Best offensive line Cam Newton's ever played with, so there's that. The Chiefs are only a 7-point favorite at home. The Chiefs are at home against a Patriots team that the defense, again, it's a very good defensive scheme. It's not the sexiest defensive roster. I'm surprised. They just took it to Baltimore, whose defensive roster puts the Patriots to shame, and yet the Chiefs at home are a 7-point favorite against the Patriots. Oh, man, I think the Patriots win or the Chiefs win by more than that.
Really? When's the last time the Patriots been blown out?
I feel like recent, but I thought they got blown out last year. It was a divisional opponent, too. I think it was the Bills. Someone stuck it to them last year pretty good. That led to the conversation of, oh, man, here we go. Tom Brady's starting the decline.
I think it was.
As far as that goes. I think it was Buffalo.
We'll look into that. You want to go with KC. Everybody's going to go with KC because it's the champs, and they're looking just like the champs. But it's just something about the way New England is playing now. They are so throwback. I mean, not even like 90s and 80s throwback. They're like throwback to, Otto Graham days where your quarterback is running the wing T back there with Cam, and the amount of defense. I'm doing it.
You're picking the Patriots?
I'm doing it.
That could be, and by the way, if the Patriots win, look for them to be super aggressive come trade deadline. Because that would mean the Patriots have to buy into this season. because I don't think they really bought into this season. You could tell they traded away their first-round pick. They released a lot of cap space. They did not go out and try to fill this roster up. But if they did, the Patriots are the only team I know that can release a ton of talent, trade away their first-round pick, and still sit here taking it to some of the top teams in the National Football League. Cam Newton has a lot to do with that. The Patriots, don't be surprised. If they get a win this week, I think you're going to see that front office really change their tone on this team. They'll be making a lot of changes for the better for the Patriots moving forward. But I think this is a good test. It's a good litmus test to see kind of where this Patriots team is with the Chiefs. And who knows, they might catch the Chiefs sleeping a little bit. That's a tough stretch for the Chiefs to go from Baltimore to the Patriots in back-to-back weeks.
Right.
Didn't look like that coming in, though.
I mean, we always hear about Belichick. He takes something away from the offense. What is that thing he's going to try to take away from KC? Because they do so many things so well. You know, are they going to try to take away Kelsey? Is that what you're going to try to do? Are you going to try to take away Hill with the over routes? Are you going to try to take away Clyde Helaire with the running game? Like, oh yeah, forgot about Sammy Watkins. Like, there's so many guys out there and they do everything so well. Which guy are you going to try to take away from them? It's going to be a tough matchup, but I'm going to just go ahead and do it. I'm going to go ahead and call it. I'm going to call the Patriots winning this game.
All right, so you have the very defeated 0-3 Falcons on Monday Night Football going up against the undefeated Green Bay Packers. Green Bay is 7.5-point favorite at home on Monday Night Football. Matt Ryan versus, of course, Aaron Rodgers. I'm taking the Packers in this one, and I don't think it's close. But how about the Falcons? Back-to-back weeks, double-digit leads. They just squander. I mean, last week's wasn't as big as the Cowboys one that they squandered, but they're going to I don't see them getting a lead against Green Bay.
Yeah, I'm going with the Packers. I'm going to go with Green Bay. We talked about this with Eric Bieniemy, where he's going to end up next season. I say the Falcons. You potentially say the Ravens. This is just one more step to seeing Eric Bieniemy, the head coach of the Falcons next year.
Yeah, I don't see him. I see him with Baltimore. I see Bieniemy going to Baltimore because unless the Ravens win the Super Bowl, the Ravens, and to be honest, I mean, they could win a playoff game. But again, I think it's going to be one of those where if they have a chance to get Bieniemy, I mean, you're looking at the Chiefs, and the Chiefs are who you're trying to be. The Ravens don't care about anyone else. The Ravens aren't even trying to be Pittsburgh. They're above Pittsburgh right now. So they're focused on one team and one team only. And that team is the Chiefs. I envision them moving on from Harbaugh at the end of this season, even if they make the playoffs, which they will. And I believe that they will target Bieniemy, and it makes a lot of sense. Can you imagine Bieniemy's offense, Lamar Jackson, going up against Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, and the Chiefs? That's going to be that new Patriots-Colts rivalry, Brady versus Manning type of deal.
You see Eric Bieniemy and Andy Reid, two nerds in the basement drawing up plays all night, just laughing, drinking whatever they're drinking in their cup. Like, they're not going to be able to stop this play. Oh, what about this? Like, playing chess and checkers, man. Them dudes is mad scientists when it comes to drawing up plays.
Yeah, and we'll see. Too, and I've also said this. I wouldn't be surprised if Bieniemy doesn't aggressively try to leave. Who knows what conversations him and Andy Reid have had behind closed doors. Andy Reid, before he won the Super Bowl last year, there was all these reports of him being close to retiring. He has a Super Bowl. If they lose this year, he might say, hey, I was going for the repeat, didn't get it. Bieniemy could be the long-term head coach of the Chiefs moving forward, too.
Not a bad idea.
All right, let's close it out. We'll start with the Bengals and the Jaguars. How about this line has moved? The Bengals are now a 2.5-point favorite. The line has gone down. I'm sorry. They were a 3-point favorite, now a 2.5-point favorite over the Jaguars. The Bengals are at home. They are letting fans in. Bengals are 0-2-1. The Jaguars are 1-2. Minshew versus Joe Burrow. The Bengals need to win this game.
Yes.
Not because they're fighting for the playoffs. They're not a playoff team. But they need to win this game because there's not a lot of winnable games left on this roster. And they need to find a way to go out and have a good performance to at least keep the confidence of Joe Burrow going. If Joe Burrow goes out there for the fourth straight week and just continues to get hammered, he's leading the team, he's leading the league in sacks and everything like that. If he continues to get hammered against a bad team like the Jaguars, that's going to kill the morale of this team.
Right.
They've lost to some good teams to start, and they've been in every game. But if you lose to the Jaguars, I'm sorry, that's when doubt's going to start creeping in. And I think you're going to see the play start to regress as we move forward. So I'm going to pick the Bengals in this. I think they're more desperate. The Jaguars, they've been in tank mode since the beginning. They accidentally got a win against they accidentally got a win to start off the season. Minshew looked okay. Minshew's not the quarterback of the future for the Jaguars. They still look at Trevor Lawrence or Justin Fields as that. So the Jaguars, to me, I'm not picking. I'm picking the Bengals. Bengals win this one.
This is do or die for Jacksonville. I'm a big Minshew fan. He's a playmaker and all that type of stuff that I always love to say. But this is it. Because if they don't win this one, they quit too. Not only just the front office, but the guys on the team start to quit. And the same thing goes for the Bengals. They have to win this game because this is one of the few games on the schedule that they say, all right, we can win this game. Like, you go into every game believing like we got a chance, but the guys on the team are saying, like, look, man, we got to beat them. So that's why I'm going to roll with the Bengals.
Browns, Cowboys. Cowboys are a 4.5-point favorite at home. Cowboys 1-2.
Popcorn ready.
Browns are 2-1. Cowboys could easily be 3-0. I'm still surprised, as much as I'm not a big Dak Prescott guy, but I mean, his numbers are right up there with Patrick Mahomes the first 3 weeks of this season. Not a lot of quarterbacks are able to do what Patrick Mahomes does. Statistically, Dak Prescott's been doing that. And he's been leading his team from behind to win some big games. They could have easily beat the Seahawks. They had a lead over the Seahawks late in that game, and they didn't even play great football. The Browns would have to play, and it sounds like I'm giving too much credit to the Cowboys, but the Browns almost have to play perfect football to win any game. They had to play perfect football to beat Washington. I'm not as high on the 2-1 record as a lot of Browns fans are. I feel good about it because you got to win, got to beat the bad teams, and the Browns did that. But they had to play perfectly to beat to beat Washington, and Washington still almost nearly, the Browns nearly almost still gave it away. They trailed late in that one. I can't pick the Browns here. I'm going to pick the Cowboys, but it wouldn't surprise me if the Browns did it. But again, so many things have to go right for the Browns to win. The Cowboys play bad and still nearly win games and come back after trailing almost 20 points late in the fourth quarter. I'm picking the Cowboys in this. Cowboys win this one over the Browns.
This is such a huge game for both teams, especially the Browns. The Browns has the ability to go 3-1. 3-1, where Baltimore is already 2-1, potentially going to be 3-1. Steelers are off this week thanks to the COVID-19 virus. So it's a chance for them to get up further in the division, more wins on their record. For the Cowboys, they still got 2 games versus Washington, 2 games versus the Giants, 2 games versus Philly. Like, for them, just as a fan, just looking at the schedule, like, oh man, they got it. They're going to win those games. They're going to win 5 of those 6 games. So they're going to make the playoffs. This game is so important for the Browns, but I just don't think they can win a shootout with the Cowboys. I just don't. Not that I believe the Cowboys have a better defense, because both their defenses are very similar, very middle of the pack. But I just think that the Cowboys and the experience and them playing at home, they're having 20,000 fans in their stadium. That's a lot of people. A lot of other stadiums across the NFL are having nobody in there. Ohio just opened up to have fans in there. So the Cowboys actually do have a home field advantage because they're going to have fans in the stands being rowdy. So I'm going to go with the Cowboys, and I can't wait to watch this game. I'll be texting you the whole game.
Yeah, I'm picking the Cowboys. I want the Browns to win. Don't get me wrong. And if and when they win, I'll be very happy. But I'm picking the Cowboys. The Cowboys' offensive attack is just too strong. I'm telling you that right now. That Dak has played way better than I anticipated. Now, can he keep it going? Right. That's going to be the big question mark there. Washington and Dallas tied for first place in the NFC East at 1-2. So to your point, Dallas isn't as desperate for a win as what Cleveland would be. Cleveland desperately needs wins. For Cleveland to make the playoffs, they're going to have to win 1 to 2 games that they should not have won. Dallas is going to be one of those. I believe they're going to split with Pittsburgh.
Yes.
They'll take both from Cincinnati. They already have one. I called a split with Baltimore. They're going to have to, and I'm not talking about division opponents. They're going to have to beat opponents outside of the division to be able to get to that 12-win mark that I talked about. So, they need to beat the Cowboys. I'm just not picking them to beat the Cowboys, but they are capable of it. But again, so much has to go right. I'm not picking the Browns.
This is big for you. Kinder Bowl, road to 12-4. Got a lot on the line, man.
They'll be fine. They'll be fine. My faith in Baker has kind of dwindled just a tad. I don't like the fact that you have to keep the ball out of his hands so much for the Browns to win. That means he's not. If you have to dumb your offense down because you don't have a quarterback to air it out, you don't have a quarterback.
So are you a fan of the team or Baker?
Both, but my faith has kind of dwindled a little bit on Baker. That's all. All right, folks, we'll go 3 and out with the Browns and Bengals coming up here in about 20 minutes. When we come back, a lot of big high school football matchups tonight to close out the regular season. The playoffs begin next week. We have your playoff matchups for Springboro, Miamisburg, Fairmont, Beaver Creek, Northmont, Springfield, Wayne, all the GWOG. We have Alter. We have everybody in here. Xenia, Troy, Fairborn. We have it all. Franklin, Greenville, St. Mary's, CJ, Bellbrook. I mean, this is a lot of, look at this. A lot of playoff matchups right here. So if your team You'll be listening out for your team, and let us know what you think. You feel good about all these teams in the playoffs? Is it okay for 1 year? Do you want to see it stay moving forward? We'll talk a little high school football when we come back.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
On this happy Friday, we're watching partly cloudy skies, a high of 60 degrees, partly cloudy and dry overnight with a low of 40. And tomorrow, mostly cloudy and a high of 63 degrees. And I'm Lorna Stevens for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Have you ever wanted to learn a new language like French, Spanish, or Russian, but thought it would be too difficult and time-consuming? Then go to Babbel.com and try it for free. Babbel works because it's built around real life. It teaches you everyday practical conversations that you will actually use. In 15 minutes a day, you'll be on your way to speaking a new language in just a few weeks. Babbel uses a modern conversation-based technique that makes language engaging, fun, and memorable. It starts by teaching you words and phrases. Then, sentences gradually get more complex. Soon, you're practicing short conversations about real-life topics. Babbel is created by language experts who use the spaced repetition method to help you learn quickly and remember what you learned. With Babbel, you can speak a new language. Babbel. Language for life. Now try Babbel for free. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control of your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problem now by calling the experts at U.S. Tax Shield and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, so call now. 800-687-5192. That's 800-687-5192. U.S. Tax Shield. 800-687-5192.
If you need new roofing, siding or gutters, skylights or patio enclosures, if you're a homeowner or business and need someone you can trust, don't take a chance. Enhance with Lance. Lance Roofing and Siding in Fairborn has been satisfying customers since 1993 and hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Lance Roofing and Siding, 8460 Dayton Springfield Road in Fairborn. Call for a free estimate at 864-2722. That's 864-2722 or online at lanceroofing.com.
Today, being there for one another is more important than ever. At Kettering Health Network, our caregivers are dedicated to helping you stay safe and well. We're open and ready to care for you. From treating emergencies to regular wellness visits, count on us to deliver the exceptional care you've come to expect. Kettering Health Network. Together, supporting each other. Learn more at ketteringhealth.org.
Making it easier for you to get the frickin' chicken. Remember Frickers.com. That puts you in touch with everything you crave. Frickin' chicken wings, burgers, ribs, salads, wraps, everything you crave. Should you crave an ice-cold domestic draft beer? Join us and dine in. We have a 48-ounce personal pitcher for only $6. Dine in, carry out, delivery, and now order online at Frickers.com. The home for fun, food, sports, and spirits is the home to order online at Frickers.com.
Cleveland State women's basketball coach Chris Kilsmeyer, COVID survivor.
I was fatigued, just like every other basketball coach in March, but didn't think about getting sick. I woke up one night with the worst pains and chills I'd ever experienced. I tested positive for coronavirus and immediately self-quarantined. I got worse and worse and checked into the hospital. Multiple times I said, I don't want to die. We know what works. We know how to fight this, but it's going to take all of us doing the right thing every single day.
Sponsored by the Ohio Hospital Association.
Hey, it's Justin Kinner from the Justin Kinner Show, and I wanted to take some time to tell you about my great experiences with CertaPro painters. That's right, my experiences, as in more than one. I've had CertaPro painters complete quite a few painting projects for me over the years, and every time they knock it out of the park, whether it was the Ohio State themed office with the Buckeye stripe wrapped around the room, or when they painted my entire house before move-in day, I could not believe that they knocked out our entire house in just one day. CertaPro Painters knows how to get the job done right and, most importantly, safely during these times. They deliver what they promise. They show up on time. They get the job done right and on budget. Whether it is residential or commercial, interior or exterior, CertaPro Painters will take care of you from the first initial free estimate all the way up to the final brush of paint on your project. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. They are a local business that you can support. Schedule your free estimate online at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C.
School goes on.
And Staples has everything your student needs to learn from anywhere.
Notebooks to sanitizer, laptops to project boards.
And all at amazing prices. This week, 10 packs of Crayola fine tip markers and Staples exclusives, Crayola 12-pack markers and 12-pack colored pencils with sharpener are just 97 cents each.
Shop in store, pick up curbside, or order online.
School on, save on at Staples.
Ends 10/10 while supplies last. Limit 30 in store. Limits vary online. Curbside available in most stores.
Order! Continue, Ms. Garner.
With the Capital One Venture Card, you earn unlimited double miles on every purchase every day.
Objection! My credit card doesn't earn double miles on every purchase.
I object to your objection. With the Capital One Venture Card, you earn unlimited double miles on every purchase.
Order!
And right now, earn 100,000 bonus miles when you spend $20,000 in your first year.
I'll allow it.
No further questions, Your Honor. Well, just one. What's in your wallet?
Limited time offer. Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
School goes on. Staples has everything to start the year right, no matter where school happens. And all at amazing prices. School on, save on at Staples.
Attention men under the age of 35. You know what really impresses the ladies? When a guy has a few drinks and later gets pulled over for buzz driving. That could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. There goes let's grab dinner and a movie. Oh, I know. You drive more carefully when you're buzzed. You've proven that hundreds of times. A woman admires that kind of confidence. And you've practiced how to speak if a cop does pull you over. Slowly, clearly, and politely like, "Good evening, officer." A woman admires that kind of foresight. And what woman doesn't find it adorable that you call it buzzed even though the law calls it drunk? You can kiss $10,000 goodbye, along with any chance of having a girlfriend. Because nothing says I'm a catch more than a guy who lives in his parents' basement and calls it my place.
Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Well, Jason, I've got to tell you, you're pretty much everything this company is looking for in an entry-level candidate.
Great.
Your resume isn't quite what we're used to, but you've got a fantastic work ethic.
Thank you.
And I'm impressed by how you carry yourself.
So, should we talk about the job?
What? The job? Oh, sorry. Yeah, I have no way of recruiting or even meeting you. This interview didn't happen.
It may sound ridiculous, and that's because it kind of is. There's a huge pool of talent your company is missing out on. Meet the grads of life. Who are they? Talent worth knowing about. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
Man, we really could have used him.
Don't miss out on a resource many innovative companies have already discovered. Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed, and they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover keytar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
Hey everybody, it's Stephen A. Smith, and everyone knows my feelings on Cowboys fans. But really, Justin Kenner, you're a Cowboys fan and a Browns fan? Good Lord have mercy. I don't know what the hell to do with y'all. I really don't.
It's the Justin Kenner Show with Kev Nash. Weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio. All sports, all the time. This is 1410 ESPN Radio.
Our ESPN Dayton High School football game of the week tonight features the Miamisburg Vikings at the Centerville Elks. It's the final week of the regular season. The playoffs begin next week, and we're excited to close out the regular season tonight in Centerville. Miamisburg at Centerville. You can tune into the game at 7 p.m. You can listen live at 1410 Wing AM or stream it live at wingam.com. College Football Hall of Famer Keith Byers and myself, we will be on the call for that matchup tonight as we close out the regular season. As I mentioned, playoffs begin next week, and there's a lot of playoff games. Every team is in. So let's take a look, or at least let's take a peek, I should say, at what these playoff matchups look like. Let's start in Division I, Region 2, Kev. You're going to have Beaver Creek, who's a 16th seed. Beaver Creek's had a rough season. They're going up against Dublin Coffin, the 1 seed.
Yeah, good luck, guys. Good luck.
That's going to be rough for them. But again, they get into the playoffs as far as that's concerned. Springboro, an 8 seed, going up against Findlay. Man, Findlay, they must not have a lot of. I mean, for Findlay and Springboro, the gap between both of those schools, distance-wise, is hours.
It's what, about 2.5?
A little more than that. That's Findlay's on the way to Toledo.
It's about, right?
Yeah.
It's like right before you get to Bowling Green.
Findlay would be about an hour and a half. No, that's 2 hours. Man, that's ways away.
It's a hump either way.
Springboro and Findlay that's quite the gap as far as I'm concerned. Miamisburg is a 13 seed. We have Miamisburg tonight. They'll be going up against Powell Olentangy Liberty. There's a 4 seed. It'll be a solid matchup there. Fairmont and Perrysburg.
Shouts out to Miamisburg. My nephew plays for them. Fullback. Sophomore, scored his first varsity touchdown last week. Akio Perry, what's up?
Oh, nice. You want to get Perrysburg? Perry connection there. Battle of the Perrys. All right. Northmont against Middletown. Northmont, who has Wayne tonight. I tell you what, that's going to be an outstanding matchup there. Northmont and Middletown. Northmont, a 2 seed. Matthew Gaines is Perrysburg is up by Akron too. So again, some of these schools and these regions there's pretty big gaps here. But again, everyone's in. That's what you got as far as this D2 or D1 Region 2.
See, that's the thing about it, man. Like, they opened it up. Everybody's playing. That's great. But the bummer is everybody can't go. Everybody can't be in the stands. Like, in this one-off situation, man, you will want the entire student body to be able to go. You want the band to go. You want the cheerleaders. You want the parents. You want the students in there, the friends and everything like that, the aunts and uncles. And this is big. This is a huge thing, man. A lot of these schools never even been to the playoffs before. They're going to be playing in the playoffs. So, I mean, we talk about like, oh man, Beaver Creek's going up against a big time powerhouse from Columbus and everything like that. But it's still an honor to go to the playoffs, and it's up to them to enjoy this moment. You don't know if you'll be back next season, because hopefully, we'll be back to some type of normalcy where they don't have to expand the playoffs to everybody being in.
Shaw says 1 hour, 53 minutes. Shaw, is that the Akron one not the Akron one we were talking about, the Findlay? That don't sound right. My brother lived in Findlay for a while, and I thought it was a lot farther than that. At least that was the excuse as to why I never went to go visit him. I'm not really sure. And as far as that, Springfield, a 3 seed, Toledo Whitmer in the first round, Wayne and Centerville. Wayne and Centerville was our game of the week a few weeks ago, and that was one of those. That's
a playoff matchup.
Yep.
Get your popcorn ready.
Yep. 6 seed Wayne, 11 seed Centerville. So we get to see Centerville tonight. We just saw Wayne last week, and tell you what, both of those teams are 2 weeks ago, I should say. But either way, very good game as far as that's concerned.
I like it.
We saw Wayne last week. I'm sorry. Yeah. So Wayne that I love that quarterback, Fancher. He's great. So again, a lot of, pretty much the entire GWAC in Division I, pretty much. Beaver Creek, Dublin, Kaufman, Springboro, Findlay, Miamisburg, Powell, Olentangy, Liberty, Fairmont against Perrysburg, Northmont against Middletown, Springfield against Toledo Whitmer, and Wayne versus Centerville. Matthew Gaines said he goes Toledo, not Akron. So there you go. So that was Division I, Region 2. Let's head over to Division 2. Xenia is a 17 seed going up against New Carlisle Tecumseh as far as their first round matchup. Troy is a 9 seed against Franklin Heights. Then you have Fairborn against Cincinnati Withrow. So again, there's less of these local matchups too as we go on. A lot of Division I representation as far as that is concerned. Let's move on to the Division 3, Region 12. Let's go CJ. We'll have Cincinnati Northwest. St. Mary's out of the WBL up north will go up against Greenville. So that's interesting. Franklin and Vandalia Butler. By the way, if CJ beats Cincinnati Northwest, which they, that's an 18 versus 17 seed, they go on to face the 1 seed in Bellbrook. So that'll be a good one there. Bellbrook gets a bye.
I wonder how much these games are going to be televised.
Yeah, that I do not have that information on. There's only so many TV networks and every team's in.
Check
That's going to be tough. Franklin and Vandalia Butler, Tip City, as long as this bracket didn't get cut off, we'll go up against Ponitz as far as that's concerned. Salina and Carroll. Salina from the WBL will be going up against Carroll. That'll be a good matchup there. Dayton Dunbar against Aiken. The winner will go on to face Alter. And then Trotwood is a 3 seed. They'll take on the winner between Carroll and Salina.
Okay. See, I know you're not a fan of this, but I like this. I like it as a one-off. I don't want this to be the every year thing, but I'm kind of excited, man. I'm not even going to front. I'm kind of excited for this, just to see what happens.
It's going to be a lot of weight. It's going to be a waste of a Friday night. Everyone's going to be blown out.
We don't know.
Well, we know. We know. Thurgood Marshall has Washington in the first round. They'll go on to play Clarksville, Clinton Massey. Who has a bye, obviously. And then Waynesville is an 8 seed. They have a first round bye. They'll be taking on the winner between Urbana and Bethel. Again, not a lot of these matchups here. Meadowdale, Cincinnati Taft, and Versailles has a bye. They'll take on the winner between Shawnee and Claremont Northeastern. So there's that matchup there. Tip City, Bethel, again, they have, was it Madeira? I always say that wrong.
Medina?
No, Madeira. It's that by Cincinnati, I thought.
Oh, okay.
I'm butchering these. Holy smokes. Coldwater. Out of the MAC, they have a first round bye. They'll take on the winner. And these brackets are so dang small. You could barely, Fort Recovery has a first round bye. Anna will go up against Miami East. Arcanum is in. And Rockford Parkway. I don't know why I hate when they do that when these get so specific on that rock. It's just Parkway. We always refer to them as Parkway.
All right. You know about this a lot better than I do.
Doubt it.
Why I thought like Dayton and Cincinnati were lumped into a region?
I think it's easier to do when you're only having X amount of teams make the playoff.
Okay.
I think whoever, and by the way, I got to find out whoever was a part of this schedule making. Good for them. Good for them. Troy Christian, if Troy Christian wins their matchup against Ridgemonton, they'll go on to play Fort Loramie. Maria Stein, Marion Local, they'll take on the winner between Mississinawa Valley and Cedarville. Maria Stein obviously has a first round bye. And then, of course, my school, Van Wert. They're playing. They have a first round bye as well.
Oh,
go Van Wert.
This guy.
Let's put it this way: they're not known for football.
Hey, man.
I'm not sure what they're known for, but they're not known for football. But they are doing pretty good this year. All right, hour 2 is.
Don't apologize for winning, man.
Gotta do what you gotta do. Speaking of winning, let's talk some Browns. Speaking of losing, let's talk some Bengals. Even though the Bengals are going to win this week and the Browns are probably going to lose, but hey, that is what it is. Let's go 3 and out with the Browns and Bengals. 3 reasons why both teams will win, 3 reasons why they will lose. Hour 3, Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash next.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Are you a survivor of sexual abuse while in the Boy Scouts? You may be entitled to compensation, no matter how long ago the abuse happened. But your time to file a claim is limited.
Call 800-958-9488. That's 800-958-9488 for more information. As a result of thousands of victims filing sexual abuse claims, the Boy Scouts have filed for bankruptcy protection, and the bankruptcy court has set November 16, 2020 as the deadline for abuse survivors to file a claim. If you are a survivor of sexual abuse while in the Boy Scouts, you may be entitled to compensation, no matter how long ago the abuse happened. Call for more information with one of our compassionate counselors today. Your call is completely anonymous. Remember, the bankruptcy court has set November 16, 2020 as the deadline for abuse survivors to file a claim. Call 800-958-9488. That's 800-958-9488 today. Sponsored by Mark J. Byrne & Partners, LLP.
To make sure the air in your home is absolutely perfect, call William Brockman & Sons Heating and Air Conditioning. They're offering $1,350 in rebates plus payments as low as $132 a month on a new Lennox system. Call 937-222-8638 today. Conditions apply. See dealer for details. Ohio license number 14911.
Fall is a season that's a little in the middle. It's sort of the best of two seasons. It's no longer a sweaty summer, but the winter chill is still around the corner. And that's the perfect time to feed and seed your lawn with Scott's Turf Builder. Even better than spring, because the soil is still warm, but the air is getting cool. So your lawn gets the most nutrients in the best combination of temperatures. Feed and seed now with Scott's Turf Builder and build the best lawn for every season. Scott's, it's good out here.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control of your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problem now by calling the experts at U.S. Tax Shield and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, so call now. 800-687-5192. That's 800-687-5192. U.S. Tax Shield. 800-687-5192.
Mike Foley is proud to serve as our Montgomery County Clerk of Courts, and he's asking for our vote again this November. Mike is a father, a U.S. veteran, and has been a small business owner for over 20 years. He's not a career politician, but a leader that gets things done. Mike Foley has saved taxpayers over $3 million in less than 2 years in office by running the clerk's office more efficiently. He truly brings the courthouse to the community. For all the right reasons, let's re-elect Mike Foley, Montgomery County Clerk of Courts.
This is Mike Foley, and I approve this message.
Cordell Transportation is hiring Class A CDL drivers 23 and over, less than 6 points on their license, for no-touch freight home daily lanes, outstanding new equipment. Earn up to $270 per day, $2,000 sign-on bonus, medical, dental, vision, and paid life insurance. Apply at CordellTransportation.com. Driven to succeed.
Did you know that your insurance plan may include mental health or substance use disorder benefits? Taking care of your emotional health, especially during these difficult times, is more important than ever. Don't let worrying about insurance keep you from seeking treatment. Check out the Ohio Department of Insurance's website, insurance.ohio.gov, to learn how mental health insurance works. Or call 800-686-1526. Speak to experts who can help you understand the benefits that may be in your plan. Call or visit ODI's website today.
The Montgomery County Veterans Service Commission is here to assist veterans during this COVID-19 pandemic. Even though we are not meeting face-to-face, we are here for you. We understand it is a difficult time with this virus threat and the strain of implementing social distancing. For those Montgomery County veterans who have lost their source of income due to their employers having to close or reduce their business hours due to the COVID-19 pandemic, you may be eligible for COVID-19 special financial relief assistance. Please contact the Montgomery County Veterans Service Commission at 937-225-4801 Monday through Friday for more information or to have an application sent to you. You can also visit mcvsc.org. The Montgomery County Veterans Service Commission is here to help Montgomery County veterans during the COVID-19 crisis. Call 937-225-4801 Monday through Friday or visit them online at mcvsc.org.
Procter & Gamble, the company behind some of your favorite brands like Tide, Charmin, and Pampers, is now hiring entry-level technicians at the Dayton Distribution Center. P&G is offering a competitive pay rate for 8 and 12-hour rotating shifts plus an additional shift incentive. P&G offers a comprehensive benefits package on day one. For more information, visit pgcareers.com, search for Dayton, and apply today. Procter & Gamble is an equal opportunity employer.
Roosters would like to thank all of our loyal guests and all the loyal Buckeye fans for your support this year. Because of you, we've been able to stay open and keep our award-winning team employed. Our team members go above and beyond and are dedicated to providing you and your family the safest dining experience possible while still providing a fun, casual atmosphere to relax, laugh, and enjoy our award-winning food. Roosters, the official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Staples helps your business go big with everything you need at amazing prices. From office essentials like paper and ink to health essentials like masks and sanitizer. Save big at Staples.
WING 1410 Dayton. Dayton's ESPN Radio.
Have you ever wanted to learn a new language like French, Spanish, or Russian, but thought it would be too difficult and time-consuming? Then go to Babbel.com and try it for free. Babbel works because it's built around real life. It teaches you everyday practical conversations that you will actually use. In 15 minutes a day, you'll be on your way to speaking a new language in just a few weeks. Babbel uses a modern conversation-based technique that makes language engaging, fun, and memorable. It starts by teaching you words and phrases. Then, sentences gradually get more complex. Soon, you're practicing short conversations about real-life topics. Babbel is created by language experts who use the spaced repetition method to help you learn quickly and remember what you learned. With Babbel, you can speak a new language. Babbel, language for life. Now try Babbel for free. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com, Babbel.com.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control of your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problem now by calling the experts at U.S. Tax Shield and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, so call now. 800-687-5192. That's 800-687-5192. U.S. Tax Shield. 800-687-5192. Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control of your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problem now by calling the experts at U.S. Tax Shield and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, so call now. 800-687-5192. That's 800-687-5192. U.S. Tax Shield. 800-687-5192.
If finding a high-impact hire is a goal for your business, use Indeed. You'll find lots of great candidates and no long-term contracts at Indeed.com/high-impact.
All right, and we are back. A little bit of a longer delay there, but we are back and rolling. We have high school football tonight. Again, Miamisburg Centerville. Keith Byers and I We'll be calling the action. You can tune in live at 1410 Wing AM or stream it live at wingam.com. Make sure you get your Pro Football Pick'em Challenge picks submitted at wingam.com before Sunday's games when they kick off at 1 o'clock. Make sure you get your picks in, $25 in Frickers Bucks to the weekly round winners. It's the Pro Football Pick'em Challenge. Submit your picks. It is presented by Frickers. All right, before we get any deeper into the show, let's kick things off here this hour with, of course, going 3 and out with the Browns and Bengals. We'll start with the Cleveland Browns. Let's go 3 and out.
Browns, Bengals, Justin Kinner and Kev Nash go 3 and out.
We'll start with the Cleveland Browns. 3 reasons. We're going 3 and out with the Browns, 3 and out with the Bengals. 3 reasons why I believe that the Browns are going to win coming up on Sunday, even though I've already predicted them to lose. But here are the 3 reasons why I believe that they are capable of winning. For one, Dallas against the run is 22nd in the National Football League. They've given up almost 400 yards 3 weeks into the season just on the ground alone. So Dallas is not very good against the run. And keep in mind, Dallas is yet to face an elite running team. Cleveland, one of the best running teams in the National Football League. Dallas, not one of the best against the run. And they're going up against their first elite running team here this season. So that's one reason I believe that the Browns can beat the Cowboys coming up on Sunday. My other reason is of course, Cleveland's desperate. As we talked about earlier, right now, the winner of the NFC East can have an under 500 record and probably make the playoffs. That's how bad that division is. So the Cowboys, although they are getting sick of losing and they've been right there in every game this year, this is a team that could very easily be 3-0. They want to, they could be 4-0 if they win on Sunday. But again, they're just trying to get back up to 3-1 on the season. They could do that with the win against Cleveland. I just think that the Browns are more desperate than the Cowboys to get a win. And the other reason I believe that the Browns can win on Sunday coming up, the Browns at some point are going to have to air it out. They can't be safe the entire time. And I really wonder if sometimes you are restricting this team too much, and I think there could be something there. I believe this could be a good passing team if they open it up and don't play so cautious. We talked about Stefanski. Stefanski has always had to play it, be a little cautious. He had Keenum in Minnesota. You had to be cautious with him. Baker, who a lot of people compare to Keenum, I think has more skill, as a better skill set as a thrower. If they get forced into a situation where they have to pass the ball because the Browns haven't been down since week 1, I think you might be a little surprised by what the Browns can do through the air. So those are my 3 reasons why I believe the Browns could win coming up on Sunday.
All right. We're on the same page, man. We're definitely on the same page. Is that computer?
Yeah, it did. I didn't jump this time.
Okay. For me, it's the Cowboys defense is very middle of the road. Not only, like you talked about, they're giving up running yards, but they're also giving up 277 passing yards a game. So they're giving up yards through the air and the ground, and the Browns can do that because, number 2, they are a balanced team. I know we look at them being a heavy run team, but they pass very effectively. They've been very efficient in their 2 wins in the passing game. So I am predicting a over-the-top play from OBJ from off that play-action fake because they do give up big plays. They gave up a ton of big plays to Seattle. Why can't the Browns do that? And, go ahead.
No, I mean, Browns want to be a good team. They have to be able to do the same thing that Seattle did against the Cowboys. If the Browns want to be looked at as a legit, solid team, they can't just be so cautious all the time. They're going to have to let their strengths come to play here. Being cautious is not a strength.
Right. And the number 1 reason why the Browns can win, Baker is coming home, baby. Baker's going back home. He's won high school championships in that stadium. He's won Big 12 championships in that stadium. He's from Texas. He's coming home. Baker Mayfield, be on the lookout for a big game from Baker.
All right.
Plant the flag.
Going 3 and out. 3 reasons. Yeah, exactly. 3 reasons why the Browns will win on Sunday. Let's go into our 3 reasons why the Browns will lose. For the same reason that you think they're going to win, I think they're going to lose. I'm worried that Baker's going to play outside of himself. The reason the Browns are off to a 2-1 start is because Baker has bought into the Stefanski system. He's been able to, Baker has been a big-time, high-volume passer everywhere he has been. High school, college. That's how he won the Heisman. He didn't win the Heisman throwing for 150 yards a game. He won the Heisman because he could air it out. And he's bought into the system of not being the centerpiece of why this team is winning, and he's done done solid. He's done a great job the first 3 games. My concern is with returning home, with having so many friends and family in the stadium, he might play outside, uncharacteristic to what has led to them having success here early on, might force some things. That's one reason why I believe the Browns could potentially lose coming up on Sunday. The other reason, too, that I believe that the Browns are going to lose on Sunday is simply put the defense. The defense has been atrocious. ESPN's Jake Trotter, who covers the Browns, cornerback, he tweeted this out earlier, the injury report, no Greedy Williams. Adrian Claiborne is out. Tay Davis, again, linebacker, all listed as out for Sunday. Odell Beckham Jr. is good to go as far as the offense is concerned. But look at all those names on the defensive side. How about Denzel Ward, who returned last week and then left? He has an injured groin. He's questionable on Sunday as well. As far as the offense, and then Olivia Vernon, too. Olivia Vernon, he's also questionable with an ab injury. So that's a lot of defensive pieces that even when they're healthy, they're a questionable defensive team. Dallas has one of the most explosive offenses. Dak Prescott has been unstoppable through the air first 3 games. I expect that trend to continue. I am concerned about the Browns' defense against the pass. And the third reason, again, the Cowboys have only given up 831 passing yards in the first 3 games. They're actually really good against the pass. Well, Baker doesn't throw the ball well, but my thing is you're going to have to throw the ball. You have to throw the ball to keep up with Dak Prescott in this offense. Baker Mayfield and the Browns, you will not have success this year if Baker is only throwing the ball for 150 yards a game. You could finish around 7 to 8 wins at that pace, but if you want to be a legit playoff team, if you want to contend, for the division, you want to do all those things, you have to be able to air it out. Not every week, but against the teams that you have to do it against. They have to air it out against the Cowboys. Maybe not be the tone setters with that, but Baker's going to have to prove that he can play that way if they need him to. We know they're a primary running team, but if Baker has that in his back pocket to be able to air it out with Dak Prescott, then that's going to give the Browns the versatility to play multiple different ways. They could win games in different ways. If he is going to only throw the ball for 153 yards a game, they're not a playoff team. And as much as I love Baker, if you have to be a run-only team because you can't pass the ball, then you don't have a quarterback, and I'm concerned about that moving forward. That's why I believe the Browns are going to lose on Sunday.
All right. Mine are kind of different from yours. Number 3, fans. They're going to have 20,000 fans in the stands at Jerry's World, a distinct advantage over a lot of other teams. We talked about this before the season even started, how some stadiums were going to have fans and some weren't. And we both said it's an unfair advantage. If one stadium can't have fans, nobody should be able to have fans. But in this case, the Cowboys are going to have 20,000 Cowboys fans in there going crazy. So they definitely have a home field advantage. Number 2. Injuries. Not only is Kareem Hunt questionable for the game, your number 2 running back, your number 1 cornerback, Denzel Ward, also questionable for the games. Kind of need Denzel Ward out there. They got 3 receivers out there with the Cowboys. He's got to match up with somebody. Is he going to go out there hobbled? Is he going to play at all? We don't know. So that's a big question mark for me. And the number 1 reason the Browns can lose this game is Dak and his weapons. He's got a ton of weapons. They have the number 1 offense in the NFL. Nope, not KC. Not my guy, Russell Wilson. Nope. The Dallas Cowboys have the number 1 offense in the league. A lot of weapons, and the Browns defense is
They're just like Denzel Ward, questionable. Questionable. All right, we're tight on time. We're pressed on time. So let's go 3 and out with the Cincinnati Bengals. 3 reasons why I believe they're going to win. For one, the one reason I think they're going to win on Sunday is Joe Burrow has played too well to start the season to go, 0-3-1, I guess, with that time. I think he's going to have a really good game. Again, though, it's not really about whether or not we think he's going to have a good game or not. He's really played really well. The bottom line is they just have to stay upright. I have to get through this quickly because we're up against the clock, but keep in mind, they're going to win because, for one, Joe Burrow's going to have a really good game. He's going to play really well. The Jaguars aren't really that good. Their pass rush is not that strong, so even if the questionable, the bad offensive line that the Bengals have, which it is bad, they're not going to be facing a Myles Garrett. They're not going to be facing the pass rush that they faced the last couple weeks. So that's going to be the plus for them as far as that's concerned. As far as them losing, it could be a mental thing. They feel they've played really well, and yet they end up with a tie last week. Can they come back this week and keep fighting hard? If they lose to the Jaguars, that's when you really got to start questioning Zach Taylor moving forward. Like, there's been excuses the first couple weeks. That O-line is horrible, but you still got to beat bad teams like the Jaguars. I will be screaming for Zach Taylor's job, just like the Jets fans are screaming for their head coach's job. If they go 0-3-4 or 0-3-1 to start the season, Zach Taylor has to go. He has to go. Get him out of there. Keep the seat warm until Harbaugh gets let go from the Ravens after the season. And there you go. But Zach Taylor should have never been hired. He's not the guy. He won't be the guy. If they lose to the Jaguars this week, he should be canned.
For me, it's real simple. It's what's next for the Bengals. They lost 2. They tied. Now it's time for a win. The Jacksonville Jaguars defense is giving up 250 yards passing per game. And they haven't played like weapons that you're going to play with the Bengals. Bengals have a lot of receivers. Some receivers aren't even playing because they can't get on the field because they have so many of them. So I'm looking for a big passing game from Joe Burrow and his wide receivers. And the number one reason why they should win is this is the one game on the schedule outside of the Washington football team that you say, all right, we got this, at least from the fans' perspective. So, for that prediction for me, to have them win 5 games, they got to start winning. And this is one of them that they got to win. As reasons why they would lose, Minshew, he's a playmaker. I don't necessarily think that he's the guy for them, but he's a guy like Fitzpatrick. He's going to be in the NFL for a very long time. He's going to be one of those guys that, all right, man, if he's a backup, you don't feel horrible about it. So I think Minshew can make enough plays running around back there like a chicken with his head cut off. Number 2, DJ Shark is coming back. Their number 1 receiver is going to be back in the lineup. So him plus Minshew means problems for the Bengals because number 3, no Geno, no Mike Daniels, no Logan Wilson, and also
Dunlap.
Oh, he's out too? All right, we'll add that to it. Dunlap and no Mackenzie Alexander. He is doubtful for the game. Your number 1 cornerback that you spent a lot of money on off season. So they got a lot of guys out on defense and they're getting their number 1 guy back. So
that's going to be key. That is definitely going to be key. Again, the Bengals, you have to win this game.
Dunlap.
You have to win this game.
So 3/4 of your starting defensive line is out.
Yep.
Yikes.
Injury report came out today. It wasn't good for the Cincinnati Bengals. So again, there'll be that excuse if they lose to the Jaguars. It's, this and that. Don't want to hear it. Don't want to hear it. Don't want to hear it. Beat the bad teams. Beat the bad teams. And that is our ESPN Dayton's 3 and Out with the Cincinnati Bengals and your Cleveland Browns. Real quick, David Kendrick on Facebook says Myles Garrett is coming home too. So he's also making his return home, but won't be a swinging of the helmet type of affair like we saw against Pittsburgh a year ago. Justin Noggy, he says Bengals by 17 on Sunday.
Wow.
He says he bets his John Kitna signed jersey. It's a $17,000 value.
What size is it?
Yeah, what trash can does it fit in? That's small trash can, large, what have you. All right, more of the Justin Kinner Show next when we come back. Get your picks submitted at wingam.com. We'll be back in a moment.
ESPN